Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right, let's see. Who's here? Mark, hello to you. Good to be. Lila, hello. Fishbird, hello. We have Ghost, hello. And Crap Landing Day. Lovely to see you. Man. Oh, you moved back to Canada. Ah, nice. Crap Landing Day. Welcome back.
The journey continues, smile.
It does indeed. Thank you so much, Voyager. Moin moin to you. And 34 months, no, 54, sorry, 54 months in total. Guys, I have to dial down some sounds. What, how come, is it must be VATSIM, right? How come that is so loud? That's in the main menu, isn't it? I can't change that right now. Anyways, I tell you what we'll do. We're going to hop into the flight deck, right? Oh, it's nice and quiet in here. Okay, so let's see. Lee, wie geht's dir? Gut wie? Yeah, so Crap Landing Day. Lovely to see you again. Happy to hear that you're doing well and you're back in Canada. Welcome back. And we've got Ghost is flying along. You'll be flying the Alaskan 737. Nice. Yeah, we are on VATSIM. Exactly. Iowa Scotsman, hello to you. Nice to see you. Iowa, just wondering, next week sometime, shall we try to get a flight going together, shared flight? Maybe we can set something up next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Captain Black Box infotainment experience. New subscribers should now pick up their pass to first class. Thank you.
Joshi, thank you so much. New member coming in with the Twitch Prime. Joshi, big round of applause for that. Thank you for joining our community. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. And Lee, okay, yeah, but the thing is, if I go into sound settings, if I go settings, it's going to kick me from VATSIM again. I think we're just, in the flight deck, it's okay. I think we'll leave it at that. Let's see. Have I forgotten someone? Hey, Peter. Nice to see you. Hello to you. I hope you have a great Saturday. Moritz. Hello. Kupinato. Hello. Jack. Hello. And there he is. Joshi also on YouTube. Thank you so much, Joshi. And Untis Baby. Nice to see you too. Peter. Also on YouTube. Oh, I'm on Twitch. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Peter found me on Twitch as well. Fantastic. Dominic says he's looking forward to the stream. He's somewhat critical regarding the product. Okay, so I will say so for the next couple of weeks we can talk. Okay, no worries, no worries. But we'll find a date sometime. Where's your seat? You have free choice, Joshi. You have a free choice. Take any seat you like. I think the plane right now is pretty empty, but here, business class. How about this? Looking good. Yeah, it's a somewhat hazy day in LA right now. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I know I've been following along some discussions already regarding this product. So we're talking about the 777 from PMDG 200ER in Microsoft 2024. And so actually I can put that up in the top right corner. We are in Microsoft 2024 today because people will be asking, I guess. So a disclaimer, right? I paid for this product myself, right? I'm not gifted. I have not been gifted this product by PMDG, right? I paid for it, full price, no discount. So yeah, you know, I can say whatever I like about the product. And so yeah, unbiased as I can be. Yeah, we already had some discussion regarding sounds. Obviously, it's a bit weird that this has some new cockpit sounds, or sounds in general, but the engine sounds are not updated yet. Okay, apart from the GE. Now we are using the GE engines as a matter of fact. Ghost. Stop ghosting around. Jesus. Right, anyways. Yeah, so we are using GE engines, and hence we will get some updated sound with this, right? This is somewhat update, and yeah, other sounds with the other engine variants will get updated in, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, who knows, right? Yeah, so Peter, I can already say, before we get started, power up the aircraft, I can already say I test flew this and also the 777 flight factor pretty much straight in succession, and I can say that again, this is my complete unbiased opinion. Contrary to Microsoft 2020, here in 2024, this aircraft actually feels quite nice to fly. What do I mean? I mean that it feels like, at least with the normal kind of control computer setup, so in the normal configuration, with the automatic trim, it does feel nice and stable. It feels somewhat heavy. Hey, Geep. And so, honestly, even with the flare, we'll have another landing today in Seattle to see how that goes. But honestly, and this is an honest opinion, it felt fine. It did feel good. I don't have much to complain about here in Microsoft 2024 regarding the 777 here at the moment. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Captain Black Box infotainment experience. New subscribers should now pick up their pass to first class. Thank you.
hey, also to MW Racing coming in with the Twitch Prime. MW, thank you so much for you as well. That's really kind. Thank you for joining our community. Yeah, so the ground model is still something that that hasn't been improved much, but that's with all aircraft really. But again, when you hand fly the 777 here in 2024, it does feel somewhat more realistic compared to 2020. It's very kind of subtle the way the aircraft behaves, but this is something, comparing it to the 787 flight model with the fly-by-wire system, it does feel correct, if that sounds somewhat understandable, right? It feels like considering all the limitations we have in Microsoft Flight Sim, they've not done a bad job at all. I honestly I can't really say anything negative about it. All right. Inertia, honestly, I keep complaining about it still in 2024. I don't think really the basic inertia has improved that much. But at least, I don't know if the add-on makers have some more options now to fine-tune their own aircraft models to Microsoft 2024. Again, I don't know what they're doing, but it feels just a tad more realistic, tad better than 2024. The FPS performance, I've not really found anything negative yet, so we'll have a look once we start the engines or start the aircraft up, and then we'll see. Hey, Zolek. Okay, Kolimata, we'll have a look at the stat trim then in a minute once we fire up the aircraft. Hey, Jilend, good evening. I've not heard anything, Voyager. I have not heard anything with Chase Plane. Anybody heard anything with Chase Plane regarding 2024? Voyager, I'm not saying I'm happy with everything in the 777 here, but I'm just talking about the flight model itself, so the way the aircraft flies. And I'm if anything, I'm actually super critical sometime regarding these add-ons. So I'll be fair enough. If I find something you know, decent and acceptable, I'll say it. You know, so I'm not going to just bash a product because, you know, there are a lot of things that you may be unhappy with, or I may be unhappy with overall, but still, you know, credit, you know, where credit is due, might as well give it. Are there jetways? Yes, Ghost. I've got jetways here. I'm at 205. Yeah, so flight factor, I think that's a fair question. The flight factor 777 is just a tad more alive. So when you can, I'll tell you what we'll do, right? So watch my landing later on, see how much I have to work the yoke. Compare that to my landing in New York in the 777 flight factor. You will see that in X-plane, you just have to work the controls a bit more because overall, X-plane just feels more alive with, you know, regards to the environment, right? So any kind of subtle wind changes, gust changes, they do feel more realistic in X-plane 12. But, you know, that's a whole different kind of simulator, right? We're talking today about the MSFS 2024. Yes, GSX integration. Now, I have to admit to my shame that I did not update GSX in the last 2 or 3 days. But it does work, right? So we'll have a look in a minute with that. Yeah. Yes, it is. Okay, so guys, regarding the scenery, yeah, somebody was already asking. So I'm using IndyBuilt's Los Angeles Enhanced. And for Seattle, I've got the new MK Studios Seattle Airport add-on. Just so that you know that we have payware add-ons for the airports today. The newest ones that I could find. Well, the weird thing is, so yeah, I'm actually surprised because so this is LAX Enhanced, and I've not really taken out any details as far as I can tell from the installer. So I guess, I mean, some of you may have been to LAX, you know, in the not too distant future, or not too long ago. So you may notice some of these features. But yeah, 60 FPS, nice and smooth on my end. Now there are some parts though. Oh yeah, I was just about to complain about it not loading in, but you can see that some parts do take some time to load in correctly. Ghost, really? Is it better than the flight factor? In what regard? Okay. In what regard do you want me to compare this? It's frame generation on, Alex. Yeah, no, you know, of course, even though I have a nice, strong PC, without frame generation, I would have, I guess, maybe 40, 35, 40 FPS. So, of course, always frame generation. So I'm using frame generation, but I'm using TAA for anti-aliasing. Yeah. I'm not sure, Yuntis Baby, chase plane, I don't see in what way chase plane is phenomenal and such a game changer. Maybe just for the camera setups, maybe that, because you have the UI. But honestly, it has a couple of nice features for content creators. So if you want to make videos or live stream, then yes, there are some things like, you know, cinematic mode. Then of course, you know, you could find some good things in that. But otherwise, chase, I'm not sure if it's really such a game changer. Is there a better to buy 2024 in the same store, or does it not matter? I'd like to buy 24 in Steam, but no. So apparently, so what I found as well, Cheddar, because I have the same thing. I have here 2024 in Steam, while 2020 I've bought on the Microsoft store. But my add-ons are available in the marketplace. So I don't think that there's a... Maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I can tell, there is no... Well, you do get access to your add-ons that you bought in 2020, if it's on the store version as well. But again, that's just one from my experience, because I found my scenery add-ons available here in 2024. Oh, really, Joshy? Okay, hang on. So really, is that like in the NVIDIA app? Fließende Bewegung. Just trying to see what that's in English, but and then that's the Okay, interesting. Collimato, I've never tried a CRJ. Honestly, it's just a CRJ. I have no real emotional connection to that add-on. So I didn't try it. Okay, lads, I've already talked way too much without starting up the aircraft. Let me just do a quick safety inspection. So we're going to make sure that the landing gear lever is down. We've got the flap lever and the speed brake lever as it should be. Thrust lever's idle. Fuel control switch is cut off. Parking brake currently off, but chocks are in place. We have the, hopefully, weather radar off. The wipers are off. Okay, so let's see. I don't have any external power just yet. Then let me go to the ground ops. Let me get ground power request. Right, battery on. And we can have a look at the listen up the new sounds. So right now, can you hear the... It sounds like some electric current somewhere in the speakers. I hope you guys can hear that. Yes, I did, Ghost, yeah. Yeah, so Microsoft 2024, just because people will be asking sometimes if this is in 2020 or 2024. Yeah, it was like a little rattling sound, yeah. Ah. Yeah, und just, you hear that wave pattern in the sounds just now? That's from the cooling system. So that is actually pretty cool. Because it's not a steady airflow all the time. It can kind of surge sometimes. I'm just looking at the startup, so... wondering how long it will take for the displays to come on. I've just seen that it takes quite a while for the FMCs to get online. Ah, there we go. Okay, that's cool. So, to be honest, some of you may wonder, well, hang on, what's this all about, right? So, I'm just waiting for the stick shaker. So once you get the stick shaker, that completes the internal startup of these computers that are starting up in the background. At least that's on the 787. I'm not sure if you get the stick shaker here as well. I will see. Do you think it's worth the full price? Should I wait for the 300 and 777? Honestly, Ivan, I always have difficulties answering those kind of questions. I don't know what your preferences are. So it's still a hefty price tag, right? So for those that already own the 300 ER in Microsoft 2020, I don't know. Man, it's... And I'm not sure, guys. Do you know the 300 ER, if that comes out here on 2024, will you get a discount if you already own the 2020 version? You don't get a discount? Okay, wow. Have any 777s been fitted with the HUDs? Do you know which? Well, I mean, yeah, apparently there are airlines. At least I know that 777X will have a HUD. I'm not so sure. So this one doesn't have a HUD, right? I'm not. That's a question for Bruno, to be honest. So if you own the 300 ER for Microsoft 2020, there's some people saying that you do get a discount or free update to 2024. Okay, so there we go. So we're getting more answers now. So you don't have to buy the 300 ER again if you already own it in 2020. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Could new subscribers please
okay, Airflow, nice. Cool feedback.
Where complimentary drinks, snacks, and premium entertainment will be served. Thank you.
Cannon Plug, thank you so much for the 60 months. My God, that's a long time. Cannon Plug, I hope you're doing well and lovely to see you again here. Thank you for the 65 years. Incredible. Thank you very much for that. Let me give a round of applause for that. 5 years. Thank you so much. Yeah, so it's a free upgrade if you already own it for 2020. Okay, cool. Right, and then someone else was saying that there is no stick shaker at the end of the power-up. So just the weird kind of dingle sound, bing, bing, bing at the end, that then signals the power-up is complete. Cap Tolerance, thank you so much. All triples will be released free of the charge for both sims if you already own them in 2020. Same for the DC6 and 737s. They're likely to be asked a little fee for, as they are way behind on the development options. And the 747 will not be available on 2020 at all. Thank you very much for those infos. Appreciate that. And Sam, hello. Oh, okay, so Sam, right now. Oh, this is like also almost a religious question, right? Regarding Airbus or Boeing. Now, one thing that keeps annoying me still in IndyBuilds with the IndyBuilds 350 is the fact that it's still extremely unstable as a software product. So if people that have bought the 777 here in 2024 have less issues with it, little or no crasher desktops, then honestly, we're talking about a long-range product, right? So long-range, well, not only, but I mean, the 200ER is a long-range aircraft, right? So, I would assume people want to do longer flights with it, and just to have, the assurance that this aircraft will be more stable. If that's the case, obviously, it's just out a couple of days now. So, but if that holds true, then I mean, you would probably be better off getting the PMDG 777 here. Carbon Bell, yeah. Hello. All right. Untes Baby, it could be that. Oh yeah, you know what? Maybe that's what I was referring to. Because the 777 flat factor does have that 6 shaker at the end, right? That's where I got it from. Yeah, exactly. Guys, okay, so the 777 or Boeing setup is always top to bottom, why Airbus goes bottom to top. Of course they would, right? They would do it differently, right, than Boeing. So yeah, top to bottom and left to right on the overhead panel, right? So just make sure generators, controls are on, backup generators are on. Emergency lights armed, window heat can come on already. Hydraulics stay off. We have seatbelts on. Then we've got cargo fire. Now let's do a quick test here. Then easy mode for the engines in normal position, normal for the start switches. Fuel jettison is normal. Fuel pumps remaining off for now. We have the anti-ice wing and engine in auto position. Nav light is on. We've got the equipment cooling, gas spur, recirculation fans, packs, trim air, bleed air, valve switches all in auto or on. The pressurization control panel also auto or correct. That is in. Yep, that is in for automatic landing elevation, and then lights are off, and that's pretty much the overhead panel. So Captain usually starts here at the mode control panel. Normally I would already get the latest. And we actually have tower online and departure online, and then we've got we also have well, that's Salt Lake Center, isn't it? Yeah, that's something else. Okay. But currently 8 is Information Tango.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Captain
Ted, hello to you.
Blackbox
Sorry for late call out. Ted,
experience.
Big Gates.
New subscribers should now pick up their pass to first class. Thank you.
Winky, hello to you. Thank you to Gavin coming with the 2nd month of support. Thanks for Twitch Prime again, Gavin. I hope you're doing well. Jehu, hello to you. What's the choice between Flight Factor and this? Well, I mean, I honestly think that technically, with all the system fidelity, they are so close together. Maybe, well, I mean, not just maybe, but yeah, the Flight Factor obviously has a couple more features regarding failures and so on. But otherwise, the only thing really that you would feel different is the flight model. In combination with X-Plane 12, which I call more realistic, and but otherwise, I mean, it's hard to really, you know, say that one or the other is that much better. Winky says maybe the best advice is to buy the 777 for your favorite sim. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cool. Right, so we're stuck here. Currently just looking for the altimeter setting so that we can already set this in here. 2997. Flight director on my side, on the first officer would put his flight director on, or her flight director on. In general, I would already have a look at the departure runway. So we're doing 24 right and 25 right, meaning that the heading can go on 251 degrees. I'm not on any beta versions, Sam, so I did not, or did I? Hang on. Ooh, no, I did not. No, not here on Steam. No. I'm not on any beta versions, no. Unless, hang on, is SU2 the stable version? I've lost track, to be honest. No circuit breakers being modeled, no. They're not clickable now. That's true. That's the difference to. I think the flight factor does have clickable circuit breakers, right? Yeah, Ghost, exactly. Yeah. So when you log on here in VATSIM in the US and you file your flight plan, you will get a clearance automatically which is great. It's like a PDC, if you like. Hey Sam, okay, it's Bad Trap. Nice to see you. How are you doing? No, so I'm not on any beta version, Sam. No beta versions for me. Right. Now the first altitude, if you look at the Lady J4 departure, top altitude is 8,000 feet, but there may be some other restrictions. It says 25 right, then climb direct cross Docker at or below 3,000. So we can already set 3,000 in here. That's the lowest altitude. All right, the rest will come later. Autopilot disengage bar is up. So then we're going to check the oxygen. Normally you check 100%, so that dial there, that little arrow is on 100%, but you can't change that here anyway. It's not clickable. You're going to do the check here with the yellow cross. Right, EFB is powered up. Here we got everything set in the middle regarding the brightness. These are all in normal position. The clock, I would normally make sure that's the correct GPS time, but obviously here in the sim, yeah, it's always the same. Right. Cool. So no VNAV speeds, correct, because we haven't entered anything. Landing altitude is not in yet because we haven't loaded the route. So all of the rest is normal. Nav display looks normal. Now you can already set some things like TCAS. Why is the TCAS on? Who put the TCAS on? Test. All right, so TCAS and amber, TCAS off. I'm going to put the terrain here on as well already. Nice. Cool. Then what we'll do, we're going to have a look at the EFB, requested data from SimBrief. So we are coming from Los Angeles and we're going to Seattle. Ted, I'm always using kilograms. I'm terrible using pounds as a measurement, so kilograms for the win. Yeah, that's good. So airflow, I agree with you. Exactly. So the only thing really, pilots don't usually touch circuit breakers, so it's more a thing with maintenance. Unless there is a checklist somewhere. I mean, the Airbus does have some checklists where you have to pull a circuit breaker, so reset the circuit breaker. But I think Boeing doesn't really go that way, does it? I can't pull off a checklist, a non-normal checklist where you have to reset a circuit breaker in the 777 or 787 for that matter. When you're flying to a US, how do you cope with fuel? Oh, well, G-Lend, I mean, when you refuel, you get your refueling slip. Well, you get your US gallons, and then here for the cross-check, you can actually select US gallons as a reference. So that's how we would do that. And otherwise, we can tell the fueler to fuel a certain amount of kilograms. So they understand the scales. So if you tell an American refueler to put in 50 tons of fuel, he or she does understand that. Right, so cool. Let's have a quick look at the flight plan. Actually, you know what? The cool feature here, I love that. This is one of the best features in the PMDG, in my opinion. I don't know why anybody else doesn't do that. Right? This is perfect. So I don't have to bring up, let's say, Navigraph to have a look at the flight plan there. I can just simply bring up the tablet here. That's really cool. All right, cool. So yeah, let's do the route request here. Los Angeles to Seattle. So now somebody asked regarding the refueling simulation. Now, I guess you have to do, if you do set payload here, it's gonna set the fuel payload instantly, right? It doesn't give you any any simulation. Now, for the settings, hang on, is there a setting in here where we can set the GSX simulation? Probably not, right? Or is it in here? The tablet, so Ted, click on the Boeing text here. And to get rid of it, you click on a little spot here at the base of the thumb. Ah, okay. So let's have a look then. So let's request refueling.
Refueling truck is on its way. Please don't load aircraft until the fuel
So let's
truck
request the
arrives
routing
at the
first.
fuel.
Okay, Captain Shaquille, fantastic. What's your best tip for student pilots? So, the quick and simple answer is, I mean, I always assume if you've made it to the point where you are a student pilot, you have an extremely high level of motivation. So, give it your best shot. That's all I can say. Give it your best shot. Do your best. Which should happen automatically because you should be so motivated. Then the second thing is, never give up. You're going to run into some issues at some point, be it in theory, be it in the practical side. You're going to have, very likely, you're going to have a kind of a phase where you're going to struggle a bit. Don't worry about it. Most student pilots have that. I had that, right? I don't think anybody, at least in my class, didn't have, you know, any issues at all, right? So just accept it and grind through it, right? Don't give up. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Just, you know, go and grind through it, and you're going to get through it. All right. So, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Constancy and motivation. Yeah. I would totally agree with that. Exactly that. And don't get disheartened if something doesn't go exactly as you've planned. So I'm going to load the routing here. So, and then we'll go with. I'm going to reject that for now. So now we have. We're going to go activate the routing first of all. Then I'm going to load the wind data and also an FMC COM descent forecast. The 777 does not have a climb forecast. It only has a descent forecast. 787 actually has a climb forecast as well. The 777 doesn't. Okay. So Captain Tolerance says, pro tip to become an airline pilot: if you live in the US, move to Europe. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, we don't have that 1,500 hour limitation. So that's now, so hang on, what's my fuel doing? So, index, route, request. So set fuel, and then set the payload. So that's all really that we've done now. Good. Regarding our departure, I am going to expect departure. Let's see. We are positioned more to the north of the northern part, so it could be both. Although we don't have ground, right, guys? For those that fly on VATSIM USA, so there's only tower online. So we have CTAF, which is literally, it says 120.95. So normally I would report taxiing on this frequency, but this is Tower. But Tower isn't really responsible for the taxi clearances, is they? Are they? So the question is, check the ATIS. South complex arrivals and departures on next. Okay, so too far right. Activate transponder. Call for push only required onto Alpha. So Lima is not a problem. So only if you push onto taxiway Alpha. Where's Alpha? Oh, here. Otherwise, you don't call for pushback. I'll tell you what, we're going to push back and then I'm going to ask for taxi. It looks like they do want to ask us for taxi. Okay, that's fine. So then we got a Lady J. I assume you call that Lady J, right? Lady J departure. Top altitude. Now the top altitude is 8,000. However, for the climb, since we have the first restriction here, either Docker or Fabra, no, we have Delray, 3,000 below. And then we're 5,000 below at any. So we put the 3,000 below into the FCU first of all. Lady J, fantastic. Thank you much, Daniel. So otherwise it may say on your PDC. Yeah, but they always say that. So they say contact ground control for pushback, but there is no ground control at the moment. And then contact, but you're right, taxi on tower. Thank you much. Cool. That explains it. Perfect. Cool. Right. So again, and they have a specific wording. Hey Nate, hello to you. Nice to see you. And Caleb, hello. Yeah. So when we depart, right, tower is going to say cleared for takeoff. After takeoff, they will tell us to contact departure, which is 24.3. We're gonna call in departure, and we're gonna tell them that we're climbing, so passing altitude, and we're climbing on the Lady J4. Right. So if they don't respond with anything else, if they just say Roger or identified, then we climb according to the procedure to 8,000 feet. Right. If they say United 711 climb 12,000, that means we can climb without altitude restrictions. Yeah. Unless they say climb via the Lady J4 except maintain 1-2000. Then those restrictions are in play again. So it's always yeah, John, I don't know how other airlines do it, but we are only allowed to do VNAV descents. We are not allowed to do VNAV climbs with the top altitudes. So that VNAV levels off. We, at least at my company, in the Boeing aircraft, we have to always dial in the climb out these hard altitudes. Maybe other airlines do it differently. It's just for me. Cool. So since we have the choice anyways, I'm going to go with the departure runway 24 left. 24 left, Lady J4. And our endpoint today is, let's have a look at the flight plan. Endpoint is Castro. So we're going to select Castro in here. So look at routing. Hey, yeah, strange Europeans, I know, right? Indeed. Cool. So then, so for those that are rated on a 777, I have a question for you guys. So for us on a 787, when we do our entries into the FMC on the ground, when we get to the arrival, we are not allowed to select an approach on the ground. So what we have to do is put in the expected landing runway. So let's say we enter 34 left. We are only allowed to select the runway, no approach. Then we would select the arrival, the star, via Lima Kilo Victor, and that's it. Yeah, not because we have to wait until we get the approach clearance or the approach, because usually you get the approach that you filed, unless ATC says something else. No, the reason is, so when we take, that's a 787, so when we take off, and if we put in a approach, it's a little bug it seems in the FMS. So if you put in an approach with an approach procedure, we take off, initially toga, then just after liftoff, we get a wind shear, right? So we call out wind shear toga, we press on the toga buttons as well. What happens then, it'll go into LNAV. Yeah, Carl, I already have tried, I commented on the beginning, I'm quite happy with it here. So that's the issue. And of course, in the wind shear situation, you do not fly any turns. You keep wings level. So if it activates an LNAV with an early left or right turn, you may be tempted to follow that command. All right, so you shouldn't. Or maybe you even have the autopilot on at that point. So that's why we keep that just as a runway and not with an approach. Yes, I always find it so interesting. So Airflow says it does work here in the 777. Okay, cool. So it's always interesting to hear the different SOPs from different airlines. I find it quite interesting. But so for the 787, that's actually a Boeing memo that came out. So it's something it should really apply to different airlines, really. On the 787, that is. The Pixels 777. Depends how seriously you take it. Right, let me just have a quick look. So we've got zero fuel weight to 169.7. That's correct. We have reserves. Let's have a look here on my EFB. So reserves. Austin is Portland. That makes sense. And so reserves is 6.2 here. 6.2 tons. So we'll take 6.2. The cruising level is 380. Cost index is 100. So I put that in myself, 100. We have some tailwind, I think, right? Yeah, we got 38 knots tailwind on average. The hand thing ghost? You mean like how to get the tablet showing? So just click on the Boeing 777 text here, and to get it clicked away again, you click on the thumb at the bottom of the thumb here. Christian, honestly, Christian, yeah, it's my stream, okay? So if you're not happy with me explaining a lot, I'm sorry, but yeah, just let me get, you know, there are people that are interested in these procedures. So let's have a look. We've done that. Departure arrival. For the NAVRAT, let's quickly have a look here. In the, oh, it wasn't correct. There we go. So anything we can insert here is an hour of departure, so we don't really need anything. But I think just for a quick return, to put that in manual mode here, so it doesn't sequence that automatically for us. Cool. So we've got that. I'm going to do a route copy real quickly. So we're going to hang on, route 1. We're going to copy it over to route 2. Anything else? Alternate portlet is in. Weather request. Do that. All right. So assuming that we now have the final figures. So we have the green takeoff weight. So that's our envelope, the green one. So within the takeoff envelope, the landing envelope is the violet one here. So with the violet dot. So we're within the landing envelope, and the zero fuel weight envelope, obviously without any fuel, is also in the red box here. So that's also in limits. Yeah, MW Racing. No worries. Yeah, okay, cool. Done that, done that, done that. And so we'll do the performance now. So it should be, we set 2-4 left. Those are the weights, 189.5. CG is 25.5. Air conditioning automatic. Anti-ice not required. Rating will have optimum. Importing the current weather. So it's giving me that in hectopascal, but that's fine as well. And then let's calculate that. So the performance calculator gives us a TO2, which is to be expected because we are very light. So we're going to select TO2. We have selected temperature of 42 degrees. Climb 2 is already selected, which is nice for the climb out. Flaps 5, very, very typical. On the long runway, CG we set 25.5, I'm going to put 25. Trim 4.75, and then the speeds, it says 30, 34, and 40. That's a nice agreement here. So on the 787 we get the prompt here where it says pre-flight completed. Here you just have to guess yourself. But that is good. So I'm going to put in 140 knots. That's really low for a 777 V2 speed. So it's not really climb improved. So El Navina, I've selected 3000, selected. I'm going to start the APU. Can the 787 handle FMC speed constraints without also having to... Yeah. I know what you mean. I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure I've already done that. Yeah, just yeah, on the Lex page. Yeah. So that you just put in 250 knots in here like that. I think that's what you mean, right? Yeah, it does. It should. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that works on a 787. Yeah. Ghost maybe tail strike clearance. All right. So flaps 1 would require you to have a much steeper pitch angle on liftoff, and then you may get a problem with tail strike clearance. That would be my guess. I would have to check that again, Gilend, but I'm pretty sure my last flight I did that. I did just enter the speed restriction. Yeah, next time I'm flying the 777, I'm going to try it out, and then yeah, maybe even make a little recording on that. Good. Okay, so we've done that. We've done that. We've done that. Put that to RTO. The auto brake. The rest is pretty much set. Let's have a look at the door page. See how that is looking. Fantastic. That is good. So let's go to door management as well. So we have the APU is running. So external power off. parking brake. Let's set the parking brake. Is set. Also check here on the Memo. It's there. So let's get the ground power released and chocks removed. Door management. We're going to arm all. There we go. Now everything's armed. Fantastic. Good. So now we get our clearance, or we would have gotten our clearance by now. So we are cleared to Seattle via the Lady J4, Castro, direct Shimmer, direct Lima Kilo Victor, and then the Hawks 8 arrival. So, oh, that's interesting. So it says, departure Castro, transition, climb via SIT, except maintain 5,000. So there we go. So to my understanding now, the first restriction is 5,000. So I will take out the 3,000 restriction there. Oh, hang on, disregard. No, disregard. It says via SID. Disregard. No, I'm wrong. And now we could try if it takes that. Okay, so it does take the altitude, so del rate. So no, if they had said climb and maintain 5,000, then the first restriction would have been cancelled. But this says via the SID. The only thing what we're not going to do, so what we're not going to do is we're not going to climb automatically to 8,000 after we clear those restrictions. That's the only thing that's going to be different in our case. So usually if they had cleared us via the climb via the SID, expect 3805 minutes after departure, then we would have automatically climbed, so maintain 3,000, maintain 5,000, and after this waypoint, climb 8,000. We're not going to do that now, so we have to go 3,000 below, 5,000 below, or at or below, and then we maintain 5,000 until ATC clears us higher. That's the idea. 24.3 departure clearance, and we have a departure frequency, and the squawk, it says 7772, so 7772. So I'm going to put that on here already. Good. Guys, quick briefing. So taxi out. Right, taxi out. Pushback facing north on to Lima. Then we're going to taxi, ask for taxi expecting Lima, Echo, and then probably Romeo. I don't think we need full length, too far left. But we could also take Echo 6. But usually it would be, I think, Romeo for departure. Then the SID was already briefed, so it's going to be the Lady J4 departure. The only restriction we have is 5,000 top altitude at the beginning. Otherwise, it's along these waypoints all the way to Castro. Departure frequency 124.3. We'll pre-select that. Oh, you're right. Nate, I didn't even catch that. You're right. 7772. Lord. 7772. You are correct. You are correct. Yeah, weird. So there you go. Cool. The MSA to the north, a bit higher, 7,700. We have no terrain really. We go over water if we go westbound on the water. So engine out would be straight ahead, acceleration 1600, clean up, and then we'll climb 4000 with radar vectors back to the airfield. Yeah, Captain Tolerance, but we got a clearance. So our clearance is to climb via the SID, except maintain 5000. So that's how we are restricted to keep to the profile climb as published, but we have to maintain 5,000 until cleared higher. Yeah. Then John, I mean, if the tower usually gives you your holding point at the runway, right? So you don't have to guess, right? So he would say taxi holding point Romeo, or he would say taxi holding point Echo 6, 24 left. All right. I have already prepared a video and I explained how to use the normal checklist system. But I'm also going to make a video on the non-normal checklist system. I should have it ready by tomorrow. So the normal checklist system is fairly straightforward. There are a couple of things here to remember. Things like with the item override, checklist reset, or a note section which may appear in certain circumstances. The thing is, the first thing we normally do in the preparations, we go to resets and then just reset all, so that there's no more open checklists right now, right? So when you accept an aircraft, maintenance normally has everything cleared, right? If there's any MEL items, you wouldn't know, but there wouldn't be a checklist with that. So that way you just make sure there's no open checklists. So when you press that checklist button, you get into the first logical queue. So the first logical checklist, which now would be the pre-flight checklist. I can see there's one status message there, so let's have a quick look at the status. No, it's looking good. Not sure what the issue was. Right, cool. So we'll call it for the pre-flight checklist. Right, so these green boxes, just a quick review, the green boxes here, or the green lines with the tick, they are so-called closed loop items, self-sensed. Okay, so the system knows the park brake is set and also knows that the fuel control switches aren't cut off, so automatically going to put that as ticked and green. These are closed, as are open loop items, meaning I have to, as a pilot monitoring or the pilot flying, whoever's using the checklist has to click on the tick box there to get this ticked off. So oxygen test is 100%, and then flight instruments, we've got heading 251 and the altimeter 2997, 100 feet is checked. So the rest is not red because that's already green. So now we can say pre-flight checklist complete. So we'll do the before start item. I'm just going to say there's one way to use the hydraulic panel, and I want to make sure that I get it right. And there's actually two more switches than we have on the 787. So let me have a look. I'm pretty sure I made a screenshot from something else. Maybe not. Right, so let's do the before start items. So first would be the hydraulic panel. You would do the right ilic on, so that you don't have fluids transfer from right to left. Then, correct me if I'm wrong, auto, then this auto, and the last would be the ilic centers on as well. So then we put the fuel pumps on. There's no fuel in the center tank, so those remain off. Beacon goes on as well. We've already got the transponder on. We'll do one recall check. Engine shutdown, TCAS, normal. And then we read the before start checklist. Flight deck door is closed and locked. MCP, we got the V2 140 heading 251. Heading 251 and the altitude 5000. Takeoff speeds. We have V1 130, VR 134, V2 140. And normally we'd say thrust 91.4%. CD pre-flight is completed. Trim 4. Oh, is someone is saying it didn't go beyond 4 units for them? That is for me. So 4.75. And we have 0 and 0. Taxi, takeoff briefing completed. Before start checklist complete. Ghost, I would have to check again which one. So I'm going to see how the engine start sounds. Sound like here. So I'm going to get a strategic positioning here at the engine.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
No, Janelle, the reason why is that because the pack system in the 787 is electric. So we have electric cabin air compressors that pressurize air. And yeah, exactly. So there's no negative effect on the engines if you leave the packs on.
Departure checks completed.
Yes, Kalimato, yeah. I have 4.75, look. Yeah. That's interesting. So somebody says the FO on 777 told me engines being off. The order doesn't matter as long as right electric goes on first and comms off last. Okay.
Locking gear.
Thank you. Ghost, there is no ground controls, so I would be ready to push back in about I don't know, 10 seconds, unless you want to go first. Hey Ali, United Airlines uses G on their... well, the thing is that, so you get liveries here in PMDG, and it did give me a livery regarding
Release parking brakes, please.
so it did give me that GE mode, the G engine option.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
What? It doesn't, does it? Hang on. No, it says contact ground control for pushback, just for taxiway Charlie, and then contact the tower for taxi. That's what it said on my clearance. So call for push only if it's required onto Alpha. Oh, lovely 777 KLM. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Right, let's have a look here. So, engine start. Now, we can't do dual engine start here, only with the Rolls-Royce. So, we're going to start engine, or right engine.
Parking brakes.
Yeah, Captain tolerance, no worries. Thank you much, Travis. I don't know. I'm a bit
Waiting your confirmation.
I'm a
for
bit
good engine
disappointed.
start.
The Flight Factor has a much bassier kind of engine start sound, so I'm a bit disappointed with this one, but that's just me. No, the 787 uses electric power for engine, so they have engine starter generators. Elias Abend. So there's no bleed air being used for engine start on the 787s. Thank you, Ghost. That's better, isn't it? Whoa. Yeah, that's much better. Inside is great. Outside, disappointing.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect. Unlocking gear.
All right, let's do before taxi items. Flaps 5. So that looks good. Let's go flight controls. Rudder.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
So
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Just waiting for the all clear signal here, and then we're going to contact tower for taxi, and that's going to be 2095. And information now is current information as all clear signal is uniform. Thank you. Uniform, the altimeter is 2997 still.
LA Tower, United 1871, ready for taxi.
United 1871, LA Tower, altimeter 29907, runway 25 right, taxi by Bravo.
25 right via taxiway Bravo, 1871.
Polar 97 Papa Heavy, are you able to take an intersection departure at Foxtrot, or would you like to...
So before tax checklist, anti-ice off recall was checked.
Polar 97 Papa are now to
Recall
Docker,
checked,
wind
flag control
230
checked,
at 6, runway
round
25
quickly.
right,
That's
clear for
loud, isn't it?
Right.
So right now the environmental sounds I find way too loud here in the sim. LA Tower, good afternoon. United 711 information uniform for taxi.
Good, 711 Heavy, LA Tower, good afternoon, altimeter 29907, runway 24 left, taxi by Lima Echo.
Lima Echo, holding point 24 left and 2997 altimeter. United 711 Heavy, thank you. So we have straight ahead, Lima, and then the second to the right
Los
will
Angeles
be
Tower, good morning.
Echo.
FedEx 3901 Heavy, on the FedEx ramp, we're going to push and start on Alpha with uniform.
FedEx 3901 Heavy, LA Tower, thanks for uniform, push on down.
Yeah, so Echo will be full length in this
Runway 25
case.
right.
Push on Alpha approval, expect 25 right. FedEx 3901
So
Heavy.
I'm using my tiller on the side here.
Alaska 1179, LA Tower, altimeter 299.
It's a light aircraft. It's really pushing.
Taxi by Lima Echo, follow the Heavy in front.
Oh,
Pacific 97 Papa Heavy, contact SoCal departure, good day. Polar 97 Papa, contact SoCal departure 128.05, good day.
okay. Hey HD Simulation, how are you? Nice to see you. Alex, I'll get to that question later, okay, if I'm allowed. Thank you much, Airflow. Thanks for the inputs. Appreciate that. Ghost, yeah, there we go. All right, cabin is ready. So we've got a long aircraft, so we're going to use a bit of overshoot and we'll slow down a bit below 10 knots. Hey, HE Simulation. Yeah, so far, so I did a test flight, obviously, to make sure everything's running nicely. And I have to say, hand flying here definitely feels better compared to Microsoft 2020. So, again, I've bought this add-on with my own money. Right? I'm not sponsored by PMDG. I didn't get a free copy, so this is my honest, completely honest answer. Hand flying it, the landings and the flights I've done so far have felt nice. Yeah, regarding sounds, I wish they would put in some sound sliders like other aircraft add-on makers have put in, so that you can select yourself how much of the engines you want to hear in the cockpit, etc. Right, let's do the before takeoff checklist. Before takeoff checklist complete. Checklist is complete. Ever so slightly, Crytek. It's very subtle, but you can feel some difference. Yes.
Well, that's the 1179. You're going to be departing runway 24 left, following the heavy. You'll be number 2.
All right, let's call in. We are ready, are we? Yeah, we're ready. United 711 Heavy, ready for departure.
Good, 711 Heavy, LA Tower, winds 230 at 6, RNAV Delray, runway 24 left, cleared for takeoff.
RNAV to Delray, 24 left, clear for takeoff. United 711 Heavy. Right, I forgot, I have to use my... So the weird thing is I would have to take my right hand now to press the push to talk button, because I've got to use the tiller to taxi the aircraft. Right, so RNAV to Delray as we briefed it. Cabin crew prepare for departure, and we're going to put the transponder TCAS, T-A-R-A. There's no lineup checklist here, it's just an after takeoff checklist. Approach sector is clear. Let's be fast on the lineup there. Let's keep it rolling. Let's start the Corona here, and then let's take off. Powered about 40%.
So that's 1179, runway 24 left, line up and wait, winds 230 at 6.
Oh, that's a shame my buttons don't work here on the... There you go.
Tower, good morning.
Checked. Wow, look at the acceleration. Blimey, it's a light aircraft.
2 Yankee, LA Tower, check your transponder, squawk normal.
V1, rotate.
Jesus Christ. Lol. Right, careful taste strike. Let's lift off.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Enough.
Good, 711 Heavy, contact SoCal departure, web to 8.05, good day.
1 to 8.05. Thanks a lot. Till next time, United 7 there, Heaven.
KLM 52 Yankee.
Right, let me put the autopilot on.
Altimeter 299er7, runway
Thrust ref, VNAV speed. This is a rocket.
25 right by Bravo.
To 805. I should have put that in prior to departure. 05. So the 3000 Delray is already hard to reach anyways. but still. Flaps 1. Sokol Barcelona from United 711 Heaven, passing 2,200, climbing via the delay J, except maintaining 5,000. Flaps up.
United 711 Heavy, SoCal departure radar contact. Climb maintain 13,000.
Climb maintain 13,000, 13,000. United 711 Heavy. 13,000. We'll put this with level change. Flaps are coming up. Thrust, flight level change, speeds. Cool. Yeah, rotation was nice. It felt nice. It wasn't oversensitive. What many aircraft add-ons have, especially the larger add-ons. So that was feeling very nice indeed. It's a shame it's a bit misty today, so we don't really see much from the coastline.
7688, taxi straight ahead, good night.
Over park, on CFX 7688, have them.
It's very bright right now. Got some nice wing flex action going here. Yeah, HG simulation, but yeah, it is fair to say that they did say the engine sounds are not ready yet, so they will be updated at the later stage. Yeah. Let's do the after.
United 711 Heavy, contact LA Center 126.52. Good day.
2652. Thanks a lot. Good day, United 711. Nice. Got some good control here, which is great. Love that. Thank you so much. SoCal, good afternoon. United 711 Heavy, passing 8,500, climbing 13,000.
711 Heavy, LA Center, climb and maintain flight level 380.
Climb maintain level 380, United 711 Heavy, thank you.
United 1321 Ontario, altimeter 29.
I don't know, Colimator, how much wing flex there is IRL.
arrival on 297, United 13.
So we got 30,000 set, passing Malibu. Let's go in the outside view real quick. So after takeoff checklist is complete. Crossing Malibu Beach right now.
Delta 1203 LA Center, climb and maintain flight level 330. Climb maintain 330 on Delta 12.
LA Center, American 5, request flight level 420.
Elias, so yeah, I've been getting that question a lot. You will
American
still
5, Amanda Alpha 2, climb and maintain flight level 400.
Climb flight level 400, American 5, thanks.
You will still feel a difference in the flight feel and the sort of flight model. I'm going to go VNAV here. So we got, oh, hang on, disregard. Let's click on that.
United 702 Las Vegas, altimeter 2983, descend via the Chow 3, arrival runway 26 left transition.
That's weird behavior, shouldn't? If I click on,
We'll need the altimeter again.
hang on, VNAV,
By the Chow 2 arrival for runway 26 left. For the United.
there shouldn't be any restrictions in there. So why
Las
did it?
Vegas, altimeter 2983.
Yeah, now it's got thrust ref VNAV speed. Because normally you would clear the restriction by pressing on the alt button. Maybe because I was already in alt. No, normally it would clear that.
Number 3908.
Anyways.
Bravo, Oakland Center closed. Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved.
So yeah, regarding flight model, 777 flight factor or PMDG, right now, I would say the flight factor just feels a little bit more realistic still, overall.
702, you're already given.
So here I have a feeling that if you land, it does feel fairly stable.
Left transition.
Roger, descending by the Chow 2, 426 left transition.
I mean, you can dial up the the turbulence settings. But what I find, if you dial up to medium or high, then I don't know, in windy conditions, it becomes just so twitchy. So I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Right, let's look below. So it should be Burbank somewhere in the mist there, right? Probably a little bit further out.
Air Canada 856 Las Vegas, altimeter 2983, descend via the rounders for your arrival, runway 26 left transition.
26 left, 2983, I think you said the altimeter was, and it's the arrival, Canada 856.
Air Canada 856, read back correct.
Yeah, Nico, I would agree with you. So you'll feel that on taxiing, you notice that there's no inertia really, right? So an heavy aircraft would never turn that quickly left or right. It would literally, you know, if you're going at a certain speed, it would just continue straight on, right? So that's how you notice that it's missing either some inertia on the ground or the ground friction model just isn't correct. Now in the air, so let me just show you guys. So I'm going to put the autopilot off. Right, so look at the inputs I'm doing in the yoke and look how the aircraft is reacting. So this is pretty much, so this would be full deflection. So I wouldn't call this twitchy, right? I wouldn't say this is, you know, twitchy by any means. Pitch axes. Well, it would be a little bit more responsive in the real aircraft as well. I don't know. It's one of those things where yes, it's not 100% realistic, but given the restrictions or limitations you have in Microsoft Flight Sim, it's not bad. It's not terrible, right? So I think, you know, I mean, if you're not a real-world pilot, you wouldn't really notice anyways. So you have to give them credit for trying to get the, you know, the aircraft feel heavy. The landing that I've done today felt fairly realistic. I mean, let's face it, we're talking about fly-by-wire aircraft, right? So if you have your normal
American 2112
flight controls,
altimeter
then
3000, descend via the Lucky One arrival.
Then it is actually really responsive. Right, so in the pitch axes, when you come into the flare, you wouldn't do really big inputs. So Miguel says the pitch feels kind of really. That's something. So Miguel,
1321 LA Center.
Here in 2024.
United 1321 New squawk code squawk 5357.
5357.
I don't. So if you look at the screen very quickly, have a look here, right? So I'm using a force feedback yoke. So what I've done is I've selected the marker, which tells me right, which speed I'm trimming the aircraft to. Right.
Climb maintain 340, Southwest 2747.
Okay, so now it's going to pitch the nose forward to meet that trim speed command, even in manual flight. I'm doing that very slowly, but it will do that. So on final approach, contrary to 2020, when I put that fly-by-wire icon on the approach speed, at least with the landings I've done today, it felt
1321, verify you're descending
it felt okay.
The Angel for arrival.
confirm descending via the Angel 4.
I didn't really have to do, if anything, it was actually too stable.
2005.
So if you had said the aircraft feels too stable on final approach, and I would have said, yeah, it does feel a bit too stable, really, but I've not noticed that what you're describing, like a boat on waves, no.
KLM 14 Tango Heavy.
So let's get the seatbelts auto.
Level 360, say altitude.
We're going to plot the
360, currently
nav flaps. Delete that out.
KLM 14 Tango, roger.
And then let's have a look at the optimum cruise.
Good afternoon. It's Spirit Wings 380.
So 380, optimum 400, max 431.
Padres 2 departure.
Spirit Wings 380 LA, center climb and maintain flight level 320.
Now,
Climb flight level 320.
just out of curiosity, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put, get to the com menu.
LA Center, good morning. FedEx 3901
ATC.
is 12,500 for 1717.
Log on. I'm going to put in
3901 LA Center.
CUSA.
Climb and maintain flight level 350.
See if they accept the log on.
350, FedEx 3901 Heavy.
LA Center, hello, Southwest 2285, 14,800, climbing flight level 190.
All right, so it says established with CUSA.
Southwest 2285 LA Center, climb and maintain flight level 220.
Climb and maintain flight level 220, Southwest 2285.
Yeah, the ask command. So at the moment, that bot doesn't work with the ask command. Did you say IRL the wrong call sign? Goofy? No.
Delta 1203, let me know when you're back.
That happens usually to me in the flight sims. I mean, IRL I always have, you know, almost the same call signs all the time. So yeah, it doesn't really happen that often in IRL. So people tell me that are using the beta versions, that in the betas they have adapted the brightness. Yeah, in real life you're more focused as well, of course. Yeah, you know, I don't have the chat to read in real life, right? So you know. Yeah, I'm not sure about the wing flex, guys. I think the wing flex is a bit too much. Missing a bit the engine wobble, really. Does that engine wobble?
3D4 Alpha, Mike, runway 29er, taxi via Alpha.
Not really.
The San Luis altimeter 29er.
Turbine Studios, no. So I mean, well, yeah. At the beginning, when we started up the aircraft from cold and dark, there was definitely some nice sound improvements. But then once the cooling fans kicked in, those are found a bit too loud. So the thing is that
Delta 1.
I would love to have some sliders to adjust, you know, environmental sounds, cockpit sounds, engine sounds, outside sounds, right? Because a lot of add-ons in X-Plane, for example, do that. You can adjust these different sound levels, right? So that would be cool.
KLM 52 Yankee LA.
Oh, Voyager, really? Cool, yeah.
I'm maintain flight level 400.
So the real 777-200, it will be quieter. CUSA is the identifier for the...
8711 Heavy, Oakland Center closed, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
Okay, so what's that for the United 711 Heavy frequency change approved? Thank you much.
United 711 Heavy, Oakland Center closed, radar service terminated, frequency change approved. That was for a Giant 8711.
Ah, okay. Okay, Giant aircraft's not responding, but United 711 Heaven is remaining on your frequency. Thank you.
United 711, you can go to advisory now because Oakland Center is closed. Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved.
Thank you much. Frequency change approved. Thanks a lot, United 711 Heaven. Right, there we go. So let's go.
856 contact Las Vegas approach 135.
At the moment, right here. Cool. And let's say. So there's a question. Regarding the Moser, correct? The profiles, yeah. So, Alex, I have the Moser AB9. I enjoy it a lot, but I use it for DCS only at the moment. I don't use it for the Airbus 320. I think V1 probably has a fantastic profile. I would absolutely trust his opinion. So, you know, if he says he's tweaked the profile to match the reworked A320 force on the Moser, I would say 100%. I would trust him 100% on that. So, but I'm not using the Moser for the A320. The reason being is that I've got a metal mount on the Moser where it kind of perfectly mounts onto my rig for the middle seat, or the middle in the seat, right? So, you know, you can use that for fighter aircraft that have a center stick, and for that it works absolutely amazing, and I really enjoy it. But I have not got any mounts for the side. I guess I could order. That. I'll have a look at that. To be honest, I will check that, because I'm intrigued to see how it would actually work with an A320 sim. How is it different of the flight force feedback feeling between X-Plane and Microsoft 24? Well, it depends on CUNY. I mean, you know, you will get a software where you can tweak your dampening curves, resistance curves, etc. Right? So the and I'm sure that the Moser force feedback yoke will also be fantastic. What you would really know, or what you would really notice, is the fact that there is no second guessing if the aircraft you're flying, be it a 737 or, you know, 777, 787, 747, whatever, is in trim or not, because you would see that and feel that, because if the aircraft is not maintaining the pitch you want, you would continuously have to push or pull on the yoke. So then you just trim the aircraft, trim the elevator, stabilizer, to then be able to let go of the force, and then once the aircraft is trimmed, you can just let go of the yoke, and the pitch will remain, right? So that's a huge advantage with these force feedback yokes, right? And personally, even though it is expensive to get, I do enjoy flying with those. For me, there's no going back really to you know, the older versions without force feedback. I mean, if I have to, I will, but otherwise, as long as the add-ons work with force feedback, then for me, that's the way to go. 100%. Yeah, Ghost. Yeah, please don't. Yeah, so Nicolas, it is a bit more complicated in the US regarding the, although it's not complicated, that's a wrong description. So it's different, okay? So in the US, you have to carefully listen to what they tell you in the clearance. So if you get your clearance and it says climb via the Lady J SID, expect level 380 10 minutes after departure, then there's no need for you to get a first cleared altitude. Why? Because it tells you that here in the description. It tells you top altitude for that departure is 8,000 feet. So if ATC doesn't say anything, it just says climb via the SID, in this case Lady J departure, you would climb according according to this vertical profile, including all of the speed restrictions. All right, so 3,000 below until this point, 5,000 below until this point, 7,000 above Malibu, and then 8,000 at Lady J, right, top altitude. Now it becomes a bit more complicated. Oh, hang on, Bob, did you... Bob, I'm sorry, you called in earlier, didn't you? Teresa, Bob, nice to see you. Can do a barrel roller. Bob, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Lord, brain compiler.
Could new subscribers please make their way to the first class cabin?
I'm hearing stereo.
Complimentary drinks, snacks,
brain compiler has great timing.
Thank you.
Dual sub at the same time on YouTube and Twitch. Christian, thank you so much for the 51 on Twitch and for the 39 on YouTube. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Christian, thank you so much. GG's. Okay, so that's the easy part, right? Regarding the initial clearance. Now, today what we got was... So, cleared Lady J for departure, Castro transition, climb via SID, but then accept maintain 5,000. So that means we climb via the SID, maintaining the altitude and speed restrictions accordingly. So 3,000 below here, Delray, 5,000 below NA. However, normally, if we didn't get this restriction here, we would have climbed automatically ourselves when we get past any. And then we would climb 8,000, making sure that we get Malibu 7,000 or above. However, that accept maintain 5,000 meant this is our top altitude now, not 8,000, right? Now top altitude is 5,000. So then we got to the departure controller, and remember what he said? He said climb 13,000, 13,000. He didn't say climb via the SID. He just said climb 13,000. That cancels all of the altitude restrictions. Not the speed restrictions, just the altitude restrictions. Right? So that means from that moment onwards, the following restrictions were cleared for us. So we can climb straight up to 13,000 it was initially. Hope that that makes it a bit clearer. Hey, Digital Dubai, how are you? Right, I honestly, that wing flex is definitely a bit too much. That is a bit too flappy for my liking. It's not even that turbulent right now. Hey, Ralph. Yes, it's from Brenner. Ralph, but it's a cheaper variant now from Moser. Now, honestly, you know I have a hardware fetish, right, regarding all these aircraft add-ons or hardware add-ons. But the problem is, I've elected to not accept any more free kind of hardware and software add-ons. So I just want to free myself from that market, if you like. So I've vowed to pay for my hardware add-ons and software add-ons going forward. Always. So the Brenner I'm very happy with, but I think if you ask someone else maybe who has the Moser force feedback yoke, maybe they can give you feedback on how it feels and how the software is, because I think that will come to a total of around about $1,000 instead of $1,500 from the Brenner. But yes, the Brenner obviously is high quality, no doubt. Although the software isn't really self-explanatory. It does take some reading up on, you know, and read the manual and so on. But yeah. So Miguel, I'm definitely going to have a look at the pitch, see how that works on the final approach later. Hey Philly, thank you so much, Philly Poo.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Captain Black Box infotainment experience. New subscribers should now pick up their pass to first class. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Twitch Prime. Welcome. So all of those wonderful people that are subscribing new now, new members, there is a way to get your Discord linked with your Twitch account, or the same for YouTube. If you do that, you will get access to my subscriber channel on my Discord server, and there you'll find many workshop files or files that I've made, and the last two that I've made were these two, and they may be unnecessary for many people because they know how to use the checklist system in the 777, but honestly there are a couple things you have to understand how it works. And then if you run into issues, how to use the override function, for example, or the reset function. This becomes especially important if you have the non-normal checklists, right? And actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. We've got a bit of time, okay? Let's go through a failure, shall we? Because I found an interesting failure with electric. HK, hello to you. How's the old 777 compared to the modern 300? Well, I mean, here in Microsoft 2024, personally, I think there is a slight difference if you fly manually. If anything, you could say it flies a bit too stable. But we'll see. We'll try again on the landing. Maybe I just had not enough wind at the arrival airport. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you, MW Racing. Really kind of you. Glad you're enjoying the content. Right. So. Very interesting thing you could do here as well on the PMDG. So let me have a look. Let's go to failures. Actually, no, let's go to fire. So let's go failures, fire, programmed, and APU fire. So let's do that in 30 seconds. So that's the first thing we're going to do. And then we're going to do, we'll do fuel. We'll do right aft pump now. Then we're going to do another one, which is the FMC. So we'll do FMC right. So we already heard we're getting the master caution whaler here, or the alert, right? And then there's one more we'll do, hydraulic pressure system, right? No, let's leave it at that. That's enough. Okay, so what you would get normally is you have warning messages, right? You have caution messages, and you have advisory. So the red ones are warning, obviously, very important. Then you have amber, caution messages. They will be in the same line vertically as the warnings. So it will start the letter here. And then you've got the advisories. Now the advisories are indented by one character. So whenever you see these messages that are indented, those are advisories, and they do not come with any oral alerts. All right, so the caution messages, they will give you a oral warning as well. Okay. Diego, I'll get to that in a second, Diego. Hang on. So, important thing to remember is that the electronic system, so the ICAS system, will automatically prioritize between warning, caution, and advisory messages. What it does not do is it does not prioritize messages with the same group or within the same group. Right. So if you have several caution messages, it's not necessarily in the order of the highest priority first and the lowest priority last. Just remember that. Okay. So obviously now, if I press on the checklist button here, we will get a list with the abnormal checklists. And of course, it's a no-brainer. We'll do the fire APU first, okay? So fire APU, we would have checked already if that warning is up on top as well. It is. All right. Fire APU checklist. Condition, fire is detected in the APU. Remember what this is? This is a open loop item. We have to tick this off, okay? So, APU fire switch, confirm, pull, rotate to stop and hold for 1 second. Pull, rotate, hold for 1 second. So we're going to wait for the discharge. It's going to take a while until we get that discharge message. Now it's out. Okay, so we did that. Now it's asking us, fire APU message stays shown, yes or no? No. Right? So now we don't have to land at the nearest airport, and it's telling us, inhibited checklist, APU shutdown. And that's the fire APU checklist complete. So, whenever you have a rectangle next to a warning, a caution, or an advisory message, there is a checklist that has to be performed. Unless the system tells you not to do it, okay? So, if I press on non-normal now, of course, since there's only one more to do, this one now will pop up. Right? Fuel pump right aft checklist. Condition, the pump pressure is low. And again, look at this now. You see the difference between the open loop and the closed loop? Right? This is a closed loop item. Why? Because there's no tick box that I can tick here. So this is a self-sent switch. So as soon as I put this to off, this comes green. All right, it's a closed loop item. So now it says fuel pump right aft, checklist complete. You can also see there's no more checklists in the queue. All right, if I look at the ICAS here, there's no more rectangles. So now we only have messages we can go through. So if you review now the ICAS, it says bottle discharge APU. Yeah, we did that ourselves. We have FMC message, single FMC left operation. Yeah, because FMC right has failed, and fuel pump right aft has failed. Okay. There goes the APU. Well, good thing is that we could fix this. Right here, it does actually work nicely. to get everything fixed. So let's do aircraft failures. Let's clear all. Let's put the switch back in. So the APU should be working again when we reach Seattle. So now that I've done a mess about with the checklist system, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to checklist to resets, and I'm going to reset all non-normal checklists just to make sure that there's no more open checklists floating around somewhere. Now we call this checklist hygiene, all right? So these electronic checklists are really, really great unless you mess up something. So let's say, for example, now I messed something up. I said resets, reset all. Oh no, I've reset all the checklist. So if I go to normal menu, which one will pop up? Of course, the pre-flight checklist will come up now. Okay, so how do I get myself the correct sequence again? Well, you could either go the complicated way. Well, you can't do that now because we have some closed loop items which we can't clear now, right? So the simplest thing to do is just to go checklist override. Right? That means the whole checklist is overwritten. So if you press normal, it goes to the next one before start. Well, checklist override, confirm. Checklist override confirmed. Checklist overridden. Before taxi, checklist override, confirm. Yeah, confirmed. Before taxi, checklist overridden. Before takeoff, checklist override, confirm, confirm, checklist overridden, and so on. After takeoff. And now we're back into the correct sequence. So if I press checklist now, correct checklist actually comes up. So there are ways to get back to the normal system behavior, checklist behavior, but you have to know which ones to use. Let me do that one more time, and let me show you another little trick. So let's say we are pushing back and we got distracted. Okay, so let's say, oh no, we got distracted and we have to do the checklist. So we can tick off these two items, but we can't tick those off, right? Because they are closed loop items. They are self-sensed. Well, we're in pushback, so doing pushback obviously is a bad idea to simply set the parking brake, right? Now in this case, what we can do, we can look at which item is boxed, it's the parking brake, and we can go item override. So item override now makes this one cyan, telling us, well, it's not exactly normal state, but it's been overwritten by the pilot. The same we can do now for the fuel control switches, item override. And now I can get into that checklist complete state. Yeah. And again, we want to get back into the normal sequence as quickly as possible. Right? This can also happen if you mess up something in the abnormal checklist. But before we do that, now let's say we've been distracted. Okay, so let's say, I don't know, for some reason I want to say, let's do that after takeoff checklist again. All right, so checklist reset. Oh great, doesn't work. Fantastic. All right, let's go. Let's do this one. Oh, I've ticked off some descent item. Oh, hang on. Let's checklist reset. There we go. So now I can start from the beginning again. I guess it doesn't work when you have everything already completed. Then you can only do the complete reset. Right. Diego was asking, I don't know if it's being too picky, but don't you think the engine cone on the G90 is wider? I have, honestly, man, you're asking the wrong person. I'm terrible when it comes to these little fine details regarding engine cone. Compare that to the real engine. I would have to take a picture from a real GA90 engine in order to compare that directly. Otherwise, I'm useless, really. Same with sounds, really. I'm not really good determining, if the sounds are 100% correct or not. Yeah, so, I mean, the sort of takeoff performance calculations, I would say yes. Theoretically, it feels overpowered. Now, let me just give you some food for thought, okay? So let's take, for example, today's performance calculations. So it already gave us a takeoff 2 with a 42 selected temperature, okay? Now, what this means is that, yes, the acceleration was quite strong. Yeah, Diego, pleasure. It was quite strong, and we lifted off fairly soon. However, now imagine at V1, you get an engine failure, or just after V1, you get an engine failure, so you have to continue to take off. You lose 50% of your thrust, but you also increase drag because you're side-slipping the aircraft a little bit, and you're using a big rudder surface and deflect that into the slipstream. So we are talking about, I don't know, 47%, 48% of what you have, initially, the full thrust. So if you don't increase the thrust on the remaining engine, that is a huge loss in performance. All right. Now, you still have to clear obstacles in your departure path. So while, yes, with two engines, it feels initially that it's way overpowered. Yeah. So losing one engine has a dramatic effect on a two-hauler. Does this mean this is 100% correct? No. I mean, we're still talking about flight sim. And I honestly don't know how well this translates to the Microsoft flight sim world, right? So I think the important thing is the following, Castric. I think the important thing is that it doesn't matter how heavy you are or at what altitude you take off. Let's say you take off in Bogota at 8,500 feet. As long as you take those values and theoretically you have an engine failure just after V1, you will still be able to climb out. You would not crash into terrain or stall the aircraft, okay? I think that's the important thing. So that flight simmers don't get themselves into a corner in that regard. That's true, Captain Tolerance. Yeah, so yeah, I agree. If you have an engine failure, let's say you have a severe damage where the engine actually stops rotating, right? Look at this huge area. If that freezes, that's a huge area that causes a lot more drag as well. Right, so yeah, again, worst case. Right? And that's what the takeoff performance calculator takes into account to make sure that all, even the absolute worst case is being considered. and that he has the performance to climb out. Single engine. Hey, Josh. Right, let me demonstrate to you one more thing. I find that quite interesting. So if you go to failures again, just as a little practice, if you go to PMDG aircraft failures, I'm going to go to electric this time. We're going to fail the right main bus. So the AC main bus to fail. Now that's actually quite funny because, well, funny, but I mean, it starts out really kind of benign, but it then becomes worse and worse. Is the G90 1994 really that weak on an engine while the is completely on? I honestly, HK, to these kind of comparisons, I need tables where I can clearly see what the thrust output is of these engines. I honestly don't know all of these things by heart. I don't. I know my 787 GE Gen X has 74,000 pounds of thrust. That's correct. Let me just make sure. Is it 74, 71? I think it was 74. But I'm going to tell you the correct correct value. It has, I think it was 74. Let me check. Hold on. So it has great. It tells me it's got 8 meters. No, not it. It's got a range of 8,155. Where was the thrust output? Where was my thrust output data? I know I just put it somewhere on my documents. I can't find it. It's driving me crazy sometimes. Yeah, it's a range, right? It's got 71 to 76 roundabout in that range. Yeah, I think ours have 74,000. I think it doesn't really matter that much anyways. I think it's about 74,000 pounds, right? So the 115B is like stands for 115,000 pounds thrust. Wow, okay, that's a lot. That is a lot of thrust. Jeez. Hey, MAN. Doing well. Happy weekend, MAN. You get to. Oh, hang on. We may have a winner here. Mark has direct messaged me. Hold on. Okay, so 74,100. There we go. Thank you, Mark. Where did you find that? Lol. Okay, so 74,100 is what our engines are rated at. Whew. Right, anyways, let's try the AC main bus 2 fail, because I can demonstrate to you what I mean. So let's have a look. So we failed the ILIC AC bus right, okay? Now it says main battery discharge. And you heard that? Look at that. Now more things come up. Hydraulics suddenly, fuel pumps. So look at that. And fire detection. So now we have lots of different messages here. Oh, I said that to you. Lol. Okay. You see, I'm getting old. So what do we have here? We have a caution message. We did get an oral alert. Right? Now, these are all advisories because they're indented by one character. Right? Rectangle, checklists available. Okay? So obviously, it does prioritize this one at first. So that's a no-brainer. Right? If we click on checklist, we have the... oh yeah, and by the way, guys, so what's cool is that here in the non-normal checklist display, we have the same kind of prioritization, right? We can see this is a caution. These are indented, so these are advisories, okay? Yeah, it goes. So, of course, now we would initially go with the ILIC AC bus right, okay? So, ILIC AC bus right, condition the AC bus is not energized, okay? Just for training purposes, let me have a look at the ILIC page, what's happening here. Yeah. Okay, so we have this bus currently not being powered. So the right utility is unpowered and the right main is unpowered. Now also I can see we're getting a main battery discharge here already, which is obviously not so nice. Okay, but anyways, let's continue on the checklist. So, ILIC AC bus right. Objective to restore power or use the APU to supply another source of power. Now, attempt only one reset. And again, it's a closed loop item. We cannot tick that off ourselves. We have to do that with a switch, okay? So, right gen control switch off, then on. So, right gen control off. 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. On. And voila. It sensed that automatically, that we switched it off and then back on. Now, question. ILIC AC bus message blanks, yes or no? No. APU selector, if available, start then on. Again, it's a closed loop item. We cannot tick that off. We can start the APU at all levels here, so no problem. And then we have inhibited checklists, ILIC gen off right, but that's not coming up here. Now it says when the APU is running, so I have to wait until the APU is running. Right now, so AB29, my argument would be that if the A350 from any builds still remains to be so unstable for so many people, meaning VATSIM disconnects, crash the desktop, etc., so that it's hard to finish a long-range flight, even with the autosave function being implemented now. And we're talking about long-range aircraft, people doing long-range flights. So if the PMDG holds to be more, stable and more reliable, well then you're probably going to get more enjoyment out of the PMDG. So APU running would normally become a message in here. I have a feeling that because we're so high up, it may take some time to start up. You see that? So that's to be expected. On the ground, it will start up a lot quicker. In the air, it does take its time. So we're going to wait until we get that memo message here with APU running. Has the electron checklist to upgrades? Well, not in the PMDG. But yeah, in real life, obviously, there will have been a lot of upgrades, right? There we go. Now we got APU running. When APU running continued, and look at this. So now we can see here on the right-hand side. So page number 1, green means we've done all the items. That is completed. Continued, page 2. Right, now, ELEC, AC bus right message blanks, yes or no? No. Attempt only one reset, bus, right bus tie switch off, then auto. Again, closed loop. Right bus tie, off. 21,000, 22,000, 23,000, 24,000, 25,000. Right. Self-sensed. ELEC AC bus matches blanks. Unfortunately, no. Right, inhibited checklist, window heat, and hydraulic pressure prime Charlie 2. Primary Charlie 2. Now, or center 2. Look at this. You see this logic? So initially, this item here had a rectangular box around it. All right, so theoretically, if we wanted to, we could have prioritized this, but now we can see this is actually a secondary failure, if you like, from the AC bus right problem. So now it's specifically telling us don't do the checklist window heat and don't do the hydraulic pressure primary center 2. So now that rectangle has disappeared. So it's just for us an advisory message. Okay, look, that's INOP, no checklist. Cool. So also we can see checklist complete. That's very important. So ELEC AC bus right checklist complete. Now we can see there's more non-normal checklists. So if I click on that now, we've got this checklist here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Captain Black Box infotainment experience.
Hey.
New subscribers
Adiole,
should now
thank you.
pick up their pass to first class. Thank you.
Pick up your pass to first class. Thank you so much, Adiole, for the 6 months, half a year.
Time flies.
Time flies indeed. Thank you so much for your continued support, Adiole. Thank you so much for that. So the hydraulic pressure demand left condition, the demand pump output pressure is low when, oh no, when commanded on Seattle. 3545. Hope the transponder works still. 3545.
And I'm sorry, what do you want me to advise you?
Advise with the weather at Lewiston.
I'm showing 310, 14 Dustin to 21, so I'm flight plan.
2750 Bravo Roger, and when able to approach request our intention.
So left ELEC demand pump selector on. Demand left ELEC
2750
on.
Bravo, that's on request.
Seattle Center, good afternoon. United 711 Heavy, flight level 380.
United 711 Heavy, Seattle Center, radar contact 60 miles south Lakeview VOR.
Thank you. United 711. Right, so hydraulic pressure demand stays shown. Yes. Left
32 Kilo Delta, Seattle Center, go ahead.
Left ELEC demand pump selector off. Again, self-sensed, closed loop, and now we have hydraulic pressure demand left, checklist complete. Looking at the ICAS, no more rectangles, all checklists completed.
RV32 Kilo Delta, departure frequencies with me, squawk 4610.
Now, I was going to hope for a notes item here, which it doesn't have.
RV 32 Kilo Delta, runway
But there we
24
go.
left,
So
taxi via Alpha.
that's how you get through these checklist items. And so you have to be very, very careful. All right, don't get lost in these checklists. If you do, you have options to reset checklists and start from the beginning again. So let's clear that again. And then we're going to go checklist again.
And 1179 Seattle Center radar.
And then I'm going to go resets. Reset non-normal. Just make sure that we have everything fresh. I'm going to give you one more example. Hey, Walter. Ja, morgen, Walter.
Kilo Delta, proceed on course, maintain VFR, runway 34 left, clear for takeoff.
So for those German-speaking people, tomorrow we are doing a German live stream at also 1700 UTC with the PMDG 777, so that you guys can ask questions in German.
Seattle, good day, KLM 1 for Tango Heavy, flight level 380.
Yep, exactly.
KLM 1 for Tango, Seattle Center, radar contact 81 miles south Lake VOR.
You're a progress. Of course you are. So there's one more thing I want to do, because I'm going to show you the notes section in the checklist, in case you ever come across a note section. Let's go hydraulics. Let's fail. That was the... which one was it? All right, let's try this one. No, hang on. No, overheat doesn't work. Let's do this one here. Hang on. Oh, actually, let's do the following. Let's try again. Let's try flight controls.
RV 32 Kilo Delta, radar contact, say altitude. Roger.
Yeah, let's do... Can we do something with spoilers? Hold on. Let's try... Ace right failed. Active... Yes. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we have...
What's that, the 310 Charlie Romeo?
So ACES is an actuator control electronics, if I'm not completely wrong. Yeah, sorry, actuator control electronics. Yeah, actuator control electronics. If you like, it's like a control unit to actuate certain flight controls. In this case,
275
spoilers.
Bravo,
and yeah, that affects...
VOR, VME at or above 7,000, cleared on Yankee, runway 26.
So that obviously has an effect on spoilers, auto speed brake, and thrust asymmetry compensation. Okay, so if we go to non-normal checklist now, you see we have 3 checklists, okay? 3 checklists. Now, they are all advisories because we did not get a alert. There's no oral alert, and also those are indented by 1 character. So they're all advisories, okay? Now the question is, which one shall we do first? Right? It doesn't tell us that the ace right has failed. It doesn't tell us that here. It just shows us the consequences of that failing. But normally we would not see that. Now my logic would be, well, automatic speed brake probably has to do because of the spoilers. The thrust asymmetry, probably something completely different. Now, I personally, I would go with the spoiler checklist first. So let's do that. So spoilers checklist. Condition: one or more spoiler pairs are failed. Note, the roll rate may be reduced in flight. Speed brake effectiveness may be reduced in flight and during landing. Checklist complete. Now let's do thrust asymmetry. So thrust asymmetry compensation checklist. Condition: thrust asymmetry compensation is failed or off. Thrust asymmetry compensation switch off, then on. We're going to find that on the overhead panel. At least I think that's normally on the overhead panel. Hang on. Now we search for this. There it is. So there we are. So off 20,000, 22,000, 23,000, 24,000, 25,000. Okay. On again. Closed loop. Self-sensed.
15,
Message blanks. Yes or no? No. Note, manual control inputs are needed to compensate for asymmetric thrust conditions.
About 5 miles out.
Okay, so we get engine failure. We have to do the
Yeah, it's 1528 Seattle.
the yaw compensation manually.
0662.
So the last one, auto speed brake condition, automatic speed brake fault occurs. Note,
310 Charlie Romeo.
do not arm the speed brake lever.
Runway 28 right.
Right? This prevents inadvertent in-flight speed brake extension. Manually extend the speed brakes after landing. Checklist complete. So,
4 Tango Heavy, maintain Mach 0.7.
looking at the ICAS, done all that. No more checklists available. Cancel. Actually, we can switch off the APU again. So, now we're flying along, right? And Boeing has a nice feature here, just as Airbus has it as well, obviously. But since we have these electronic checklists, is that there was a lot of things here that affect landing performance.
Air Professional 4721.
Now, why?
Like runway 3.
Why is it important?
Or 32 left at Alpha 10.
If we look at, for example, the descent checklist,
Air Professional 4721.
it now says
32 left at Alpha 10.
notes
Alpha
in
10.
here, and we pilots are required, before we even do the descent items and the descent checklist, we are required to do a recall check to check the ICAS for any messages, and also we have to check the notes if there are any notes in the checklist system. So why is that in? Well, it's in because we are flying a long-range aircraft. Right? It could be that we've got another 10-hour flights ahead of us. All right? And then by the time we get to destination, we forgot about this, potentially, right? And also, this has an effect on landing performance. So we have to consider this for the penalties regarding landing distance required, okay? Also, another reason could be that, let's say I'm the captain, I'm on my brake, and I don't actually see this happening. And then I come back, and my two first officers, they were distracted or tired or whatever. They forget to tell me about this. Right? Now, the thing is, right now, if I looked at the overhead panel, I may see this off light in there, right? However, let's pretend it's very bright. It's a bright day. I come in, I don't look at the overhead panel. I don't see that off light. All right, so I have no other indication that there could potentially be an issue. Or let's say I'm starting my descent and I'm high in the profile, and then I'll pull the speed brakes. But it clearly said in the notes, it said do not arm the speed brake levers, right? This prevents in-flight speed brake extension. And I'm also wondering, I would think that normally it would tell me not to use speed brakes in flight, but it doesn't matter. Or, you know, for landing, I arm the speed brake lever, which I'm not supposed to do, okay? So that's why we have this note section here. So when I'm going through my normal descent preparations now, so let's first of all get the weather. So let's go flight information.
Air Professional 4721, runway 32 left at Alpha 10, clear for takeoff.
We have ATIS in Seattle, which is nice. Let's have a look. Let's send it off.
Omni Express 528 heavy, runway 16, clear for takeoff.
So before even calculating the landing performance, what I would do, IRL, I would just do a recall check. And now I would say, hey, what's this? Thrust, asymmetry, spoilers, auto spray. Hey, what happened? Oh, yeah, right. Totally forgot. All right, so and then I would say, were there any notes with that? Oh, yeah, there were notes with that. Ah, okay, notes. Let's see. Auto speed brake, do not, blah, 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 blah. Right? So look here, wonderful. This actually works. So we have information hotel. We got 170 at 3, 10 miles, broken 2.5, overcast 3,200, 10 degrees, 3014, which I'm going to dial in straight away. Otherwise I'm going to forget.
Air Professional 4721, radar contact, climb maintain, portable 190.
3014. ILS 34 left.
Turn left, heading 250.
ILS 34 right, approach and use. Departing 34 right, 34 center. Now, I think we're going to get 34 left for landing, because they're departing on the right and center. So NOTAMs, arrivals advise if you have 2 runway scenery.
528 heavy radar contact, stay altitude.
I hope so. I mean, I have a new MKS scenery, right? So it's a 3 runway.
Heavy climb maintain, level 390.
I've not explicitly checked that, but I would assume it's a 3 runway, right? So if you only have a 2 runway, they would want you to tell them, I guess. Yeah, right, MAN? That's what I think as well.
Air Professional 4721, turn right, direct, ignore me.
Right, direct, ignore me, 467.
So let's do the 3-4. No. Huh? Hang on. What's happening here? Why are you resetting that? Approach, Seattle. There we go. Now we got the 3-4 left. So there we go. ILS 3-4 left. We'll pin that. And we're going to pin the
RV32 kilo
the center
Delta,
as well.
Radar contact lost.
Hang on, Ghost. I'll check in a minute. Airport.
Kilo 14 Tango, verify that was a 240 heading, not a 340 heading.
There we go. Let's do that.
340. I'll turn left heading 240 now.
So let's do pinned approach. So 3-4 left. So that's the approach we're going to use. Now contact ramp control prior to push and start. Okay, advise you have hotel. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, so now that we got the weather, again, I would check the notes on the checklists. And we'll leave that in, actually. You know, we'll leave the that failure in.
Skyhawk 2750 Bravo.
And try to remember that we have to use manual speed brakes on touchdown. So auto speed brake, do not arm the speed brake lever. This prevents inadvertent in-flight speed brake extension. Manually then the speed brakes after landing. We'll do that. Spoilers, roll rate may be reduced in flight. Okay. Speed brake effectiveness may be reduced in flight as well and during landing. But we are allowed to use the speed brakes. And also thrust asymmetry compensation is also lost. Continue to page 2. Manual control inputs are needed to compensate for asymmetric thrust conditions. Okay, copied, right. So that is now checked. So with this, we can actually go now and calculate our performance. So landing en route we'll use. So we'll use
8933, expect the
left.
left from Schaefer.
We'll do... Now, since we do have manual speed brake control, I'm going to go as slow as possible. So landing flap 30, aircon on, anti-ice not required. Although... Yeah, that's good enough. So we'll do anti-ice off. Now, do we have any items in here that do affect us performance-wise? Not that I can see. Now, IRL, I think it would have an effect. Here in the PMDG, it doesn't give us any. Right, I'm going to put all operative, auto brake 3. Let's see.
Heavy chop at altitude. Request higher if able. What do you need? Let's go with 230 for now. Professional 4721, comment pains level 230. 230 4721.
So where's Ghost? Where's our Ghost? He should be behind us. We should be faster than him. He's on a 737. So let's have a look. We should have available 3-4 left, 2,600 meters. Yep, 2,600, and we require 2,000. 2,000 required. So auto brake 3, flap 30 would be nice. And then let me have a look at the airport info here. Didn't I? Hang on. What happened to search Seattle Airport? So, landing on the left, well, we'll take Echo or Zulu to turn off. So Echo has 1,800, 1,900 meters and Zulu 2,000. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll take those values. Flaps 30, auto brake 3 is fine.
Center, good afternoon, United 2170.
Then we're going to check the arrival. So we expecting the Hawks 8 arrival.
Heavy Seattle Center, push and start approved. Expect runway 28 right.
We are arriving via Lakeview.
KLM 14 Tango Heavy, clear direct.
So we're currently en route to Esley. So Battleground 240 above, correct. Then we've got Patera 220 above, correct. Creek, Creek,
go ahead.
No restriction.
Moderate heavy, pockets of the stream.
Then have Hawks 270 knots, 12,000 above,
Roger.
correct. Then we've got Line, no restrictions. They've got Foot 250 knots between 12 and 10. Goals 230 knots, 9,000 above. And Sonder 230 at 6,000. All correctly programmed. Now I'm going to put an ILS 34 left via Sonder.
ATL Center, Delta 8933, just heads up. We are we'll be parking over at Atlantic.
And we have information lost.
You're 475 at Atlantic?
Yep.
So then
Sweet.
from Sonder,
Right from Schaefer then.
All right, 28 right, thank you.
going on to the approach, 34 left. So we have Sonder, then we've got Hipro, 5,000 above, correct. Then we've got Josta,
52 Yankees.
4,000 above.
Contact 4 miles south.
Jalon, 2,400,
Lake
final descent point. And then we've got the runway, missed approach,
American 3251 Seattle Center.
that's not us, going to heading 300, then Wexup and Lofal at 5,000. Then cross Wexup 3,000 above, and then climb to 5,000 outbound on the Seattle VOR. All correctly programmed, fantastic. So these are all checked.
Seattle Center, American 3251 Heavy, all 380, 49 miles northeast of...
oh, he's 40 miles behind me, lol, okay.
That we were on the wrong frequency.
Cool.
American 3251 Seattle Center.
So one more thing to brief is the MSAs. We have high terrain to the east, Rockies there. So rest is 2,200 and 3,400 to the west and northwest. And for the taxi in, we're going to cross some runways. So we've got some hot spots regarding runway crossings. Anyone know where we park here? I have no idea.
Seattle,
where we have the heavy stands.
November 6 Alpha, go ahead.
Sir, we have hotel at Seattle and like to request the ILS 34 left.
The S gates. S gates. Okay, let's have a look.
6 Alpha, thanks, sir.
Down here. Ah, okay. Thanks, guys. Okay, cool. South satellite. Perfect. Thank you much. Alpha. Hello to you. Red Dragon. Hello, and thank you so much for the info.
Seattle Center radar contact.
John, thank you. So South satellite here somewhere. GG's. Thank you so much. Cool. Yes. Hello. There is. Yes. So I do have a license that says
United
rated.
711 descend via Hawk 8 arrival landing north Seattle altimeter 3014.
United 711 Heavy will descend Hawks 8 and the altimeter is 3014. Copy. So United 711 Heavy. Right, descend via. Right, he didn't say anything else. So he didn't say except maintain 12,000 or whatever. So he said descend via the Hawks 8.
Air Professional 47.
So what I'm going to do,
21 descent of pilot's discretion.
I'm going to look where the Hawks 8 ends.
Altimeter 29902.
PD 1000, we were just going to go with approach request. I'd like to take the RNAV.
It ends at Sonder, 6,000 feet.
Air Professional 4021 Roger, proceed direct to Fredo.
So the lowest is 6,000 feet. I'm going to dial that in. And we got top descent coming up in about 35 miles. Now here in the Boeing aircraft, if we dial down the altitude on the flight control units, it will, in VNAV path, descend automatically. Right? There's nothing else we have to do here right now.
United 755 Seattle Center radar contact.
Okay, so that's all set. Then the briefings. So descent items, flaps 30, auto brake 3. Let me just check the minimums here on the ILS.
Are we cleared to descend via the glass or 3?
Just about to get to you, sir. November
So
6.
580 feet.
Glacier 3
580.
arrival landing north, Seattle altimeter 3014.
Alright, descend via the Glacier 3 November 6 Alpha.
580 feet.
Central
set.
aircraft information, India, current Seattle, Seattle altimeter 3014.
Right, then we are ready for a recall once more. Recall checked. Yeah. Com menu. New messages. No new messages. There we go. Right, so descent checklist. Recall checked. Oh yeah, and again, remember guys, tick box means open loop. So we have to tick these off. Notes checked. Auto brake 3. Landing data VREF. Oh, hang on. Flaps 30. VREF 129. Minimums bar 580 feet. Approach briefing
Delta
completed.
8933.
Descent checklist
complete.
complete.
Head Schaefer cleared ILS 28 right, Delta 8933.
I'm going to start my descent here. Thrust VNAV speed. Because I don't want to have the aircraft dive down straight away. So now, as I'm above the path, it will go 1,000 feet per minute.
Good afternoon, Seattle Center, American Airlines 3.
And then recapture that vertical path.
Seattle.
At least it should do that. Oh, now we can look outside. Look at that. Beautiful weather today.
American 368, Seattle Center, push and start approved. Expect runway 34 right for departure.
Push approved, and we will plan for tree
Right, so questions.
American Airlines.
Yeah, so there's a shared type rating. So on my license, I have 777 and 787.
310 Charlie Romeo, Olympia, altimeter 3013.
Alipay, hello.
130 Charlie Romeo.
Yeah, Red Rag, no worries. Yeah, we'll just go for the heavies and the south satellite, yeah.
Center United 2170 Heavy with the permission Oscar Richard.
Alipay,
7170 Heavy, runway.
The flight factor has maybe a few more items regarding failures, a little bit more items on ground preparations, so ground simulation. Oh, bit of turbulence here. Hello, hello. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, that weak flex. Hey, Michelle, ciao. Yeah, so, or Michele, sorry, Michele, ciao.
Seattle American 61, what was the day request?
Alright, Chase, you want to go ahead?
Yes, sir. Like to step up to
Yeah, so for me, the also the flight feel in the 777.
Climb maintain, follow 360.
Wow.
This is
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the turbulence, return to seats, fasten seatbelts. Wow. And United 711 Heavies just picking up some moderate turbulence, passing 350 in the descent now.
Roger, thank you.
Yeah, that could be because of that really strong wind here.
4721, cross freight of VOR at or above 5,000, cleared RNAV Zulu, runway 22.
Freight at or above 5,000, cleared RNAV, runway RNAV Zulu 22, air professional 4720.
Well, it's not severe yet, Ghost. So I would say that's moderate, not severe. And then the next one would be extreme.
FedEx 3954, descend via
But severe means that you partially lose control of the aircraft.
Glacier 2, arrival 3014, FedEx 3954, have it.
Yeah, Aki, I don't know exactly what it's reacted to. If it's, you know, just
Alaska 1179, descend via Hawk State arrival, landing north.
getting out of that jet stream or something. But there we go. I've had severe turbulence IRL, yes. It's not pretty, let's say. The aircraft is fine.
That's the 310 Charlie Romeo.
It's just very uncomfortable.
At Auburn and approach request.
So severe means that objects actually lift off.
At Auburn, and we'll
So objects actually do start to float.
Roger.
And that obviously is also uncomfortable for the body. It's not nice. Yeah, the 747, yeah. Exactly. Hey, Delta Tango. Much appreciated for your like. Now, it is slowly capturing again the path. But I mean, it's descending a bit faster than I expected. I would have expected 1,000 feet per minute until we get onto the optimum path. Not sure if there's a different logic behind that here in the 777 or because it's an older software standard. I don't know, but a bit surprised it goes down that quickly. So what I'll do, I'm going to go vertical speed for a few seconds here. And so the next restriction is Patera 22 above, and then Hawks 12,000 above. So Delta Tango, thank you much for the like. Hope you're doing well. And you have to work on the weekend. Oh no. Yeah, in the end, I mean, you know, it's a think of it as a fluid, right? So exactly like on the sea, if you have very high waves,
1179. I was trying to give you that earlier. Descend
it's obviously better to be in a big boat, a big ship,
3014.
than a small yacht, right? But still, even a big ship will be thrown around in really stormy seas. So it's the same like for 747, right? It doesn't affect it as much as small aircraft, but it's not immune to turbulence. Yeah, it could have been mountain wave, yeah. That is correct. Oh, one thing I wanted to check. How much...
United 711, expect ILS 34 left from Schaefer. Or correction, 34 left from Sunder.
Okay, we expect the ILS 34 left from Sunder. Copied, United 711 Heavy. Yep, so as expected by a Sonder 34 left. Yeah, so Ghost via the star means you look at the last point on your arrival, which is Sonder, and you dial in this altitude, 6,000, and you just maintain all of the restrictions shown on the arrival. Oh, that reminds me, VNAV.
November 2750.
So idle
Bravo,
VNAV speed.
Wind 290.14 gust 21 runway 26.
No Ghost. No. If he doesn't give you any restrictions, you descend according to that vertical and speed profile, as it's shown here on the charts. That's the easiest case, really. It makes it easy for us pilots, and makes it easy for us for the controllers, because both of us know now exactly what we have to do, and we don't have to continuously talk about it. Yeah, okay, I've got to be careful now with the speed brakes, but that's a good thing, really, because I want to have a look which speed brakes
2170, holding short to right,
are extended.
Yeah, 2170 when calm.
Ah, you see?
Brake clear to take off.
Normally, I would expect more speed brakes to be out. I think at least 2 more should be out here.
Shell, Shatner, KLAX 145, coming up on top of the shuttle.
Still on 14 Tango, thanks descend via.
Let's have a look at the flight controls.
Seattle altimeter 3014.
And there we go, now we're on path, speed brakes in.
Altimeter 3014.
Yep, there we go, look. So these spoilers are in op. And here actually, you see, that's the thing, right? We didn't get any other messages. So it actually does make sense to call up these pages like hydraulic and flight control. And there we would have seen, ACE's right is in op. It's the control for these spoilers now.
Delta 8933, runway 28 right, clear to land.
So that makes sense, right? Hydraulics Well, nothing crossed out here.
Seattle Center, American 368 with India, ready for taxi.
So 18,000, we set 3014.
Runway 34 right, taxi via Bravo.
34 right via Bravo, American 368.
Number 310 Charlie Romeo, fly heading 030, descend and maintain 3000.
Heading 030 and descend and maintain 3000.
Is that Mount Rainier here? Anybody know? Looks a bit flat, really, to be Mount Rainier, but that's the biggest one around here. It is, right? Yeah. But wouldn't that be a bit like... It wouldn't be that flat in real life, would it be? Hang on. Well...
United 2170 radar contact.
Well, actually, it is.
2000 air 2170.
At 2170 heavy, Roger, com maintain flight level 410.
I'll take it back.
Contact level 410 air 2170.
I'll take it back. It is that. Okay, it's not very pointy at all. Right, let's go altimeters, and then we go approach checklist. Approach altimeters 3014. Checked. Approach checklist complete. So now things will happen quickly. So we'll go signal that we are in the approach right now. So 12,000 above at Hawks, and then more restrictions coming up as we go along. Hey, stick figure. It is a volcano, yeah. Yeah. Now, we are getting a bit fast. So 270. Let me just... gradually help that with the speed control here. Drop the gear? No. It wouldn't come down now anyways, because the limit speed for a gear extension is 270 knots. There's a safety valve that would prevent us from lowering the gear right now. Alipay, not necessarily. Severe turbulence can cause the autopilot to drop out. It doesn't have to. These autopilot are actually really good. So I've had severe turbulence where the autopilot stayed in. So not
711 heavy at Sonder, cleared ILS 34 left approach.
At Sonder, cleared the ILS 34 left approach. United 711 heavy. Thank you. Right, we cleared approach. So we're going to fly it exactly as published. So we're crossing Hawks, 12,000 above, 270 knots.
United 755, radar contact
looking good. Shah. Always tough questions. So I know. So there are certain things, obviously, that people can criticize. Maybe pricing, maybe the fact that a lot of it is a simple port over from P3D times without much innovation. In the end, honestly, Shah, it depends on how much you plan to use the add-on. And I think what's really important is that things like fuel usage. I'm going to check the fuel here in a minute. 9.3 expected to land. Expecting to land with 6.2 plus the extra of 1.2, so 7.8. So we've got, well, a bit more than I would have expected from the fuel usage. But again, you know, and stable. It has to be stable in the sense, compare that with the Inibilt's A350.
Seattle Center, are you able to receive voice?
So the A350 is very unstable still. Crashed desktops, disconnects.
58 squawk 1563.
So
approved.
So in terms of how to enjoy an add-on and manual flight, again, personally, I found the manual flying here in 2024 in the PMDG nicer compared to 2020 version.
Seattle Center, Oscar 929, flight 0340.
But who knows? If I slam it now, I'll change my mind. Simple as that. So... at Force 5, I'm using frame generation, right? And I'm getting, even in LA, I did get around 60 FPS. Nice and smooth, so
30 miles
no complaints. So we got goals, 230 knots, 9,000 buff. VNAV,
368 radar contact, say altitude.
doing really nicely on the VNAV as well.
Captain 4100, climbing 9,000, American 368.
American 368, climb maintains level 390.
The weather's better than I expected, to be honest. I expect an overcast
310 Charlie Romeo,
cloud layer.
345.
Landing 345, Charlie Romeo.
It says,
it'll be,
so the live weather says light rain, overcast 2,700. Cabin ready.
Alaska 1179, expect the ILS 34 left from Sonder.
I'm going to go with open speed window now.
Field inside, Central Romeo.
310 Charlie Romeo, cleared visual approach Auburn Airport. No traffic observed.
Is it really, Bradson? Weather's been off for the last 3 weeks.
Frequency change approved.
Yeah, that's a shame. Right, flaps 1.
We can go ahead and cancel IFR now.
310 Charlie Romeo, IFR cancellation received.
Flaps 1.
Via bar, remain clear of Seattle Tacoma class Bravo, frequency change approved.
Squawk via bar, remain clear of the Bravo, frequency change approved, Charlie Romeo.
Why? What's it doing now? Why is it going diving down? Getting the speed brakes out. I was just praising it for its VNAV, and now it's doing something silly. But hey.
Omni Express 528, radar contact lost.
Yes, Captain Noodle. The frame generation does cause some issues with the
Alaska 1179 at Sonder, cleared ILS 34 approach.
The fan blade
KLM 52 Yankee
visuals.
Via Hawk State arrival, landing north, Seattle altimeter 3014.
So we're cleared for the approach, meaning if we stay in VNAV, I'm now going to dial in 2,400 because that's the final approach altitude. So we start VNAV path 2,400. Speed brakes coming in. And we'll use flaps 5. Flaps 5. That's a beautiful view here.
Center American 61, step away for about 5 minutes.
Ghost, yeah, you better.
That's approved.
Seattle Center, Delta 558, ready for taxi.
Okay, we have the ILS, India Bravo.
473 Seattle Center, radar contact 70 miles south, climate correction. Lake
Echo
Easy,
Juliet, identified. We have indications on the correct side. Lock glide slope arms.
45 Seattle Center, radar contact 70.
Although, disregard, let's just do localizer. Because I don't want to capture the glide slope right now.
Expect KLAX 34 right, FedEx, street 954 heavy.
Seattle number 6 out, so we got new weather with Juliet.
Roger.
Just slow down a bit. I can see the airport already. Right there. Hey, nice, Captain Matlock. GG's.
Air Professional 4721.
Exciting, right? You suck at math, no worries.
4721, continue on runway 32 right.
You'll be fine, trust me. Ah, you can enjoy that. GG's. Good, so again, we don't arm the speed brakes, alright? Remember the notes.
November 6 Alpha, just want to maintain 7.
Do not arm speed brakes. Manually extend the speed brakes after landing. You guys have to remind me if I forget, okay? Right, we got lock, still VNAV path. Here comes flaps 15. Flaps 15. We're not clear to land yet. But we're still 10 miles, 11 miles out, so... Or 12 miles, actually. Cool. What we're going to do as well, let me be really brave now. Or stupid. Call it what you may. Main thrust, manual flight. Flight director's off.
52 Yankee, say, Mach number.
And bird on.
1152 Yankee, maintain Mach 0.74 in the descent for spacing.
And then missed approach 5,000. Is that. So we're on glide slope, on localizer, wind from the left.
711 heavy, runway 34 left, clear to land.
34 left, clear to land, United 711 heavy. So you are noticing that FBW, it's an option you can set in the MCDU. So I'm trying to speed trim the aircraft so that I don't have to continuously pull back on the stick or push on the stick or on the yoke. So it helps me to visualize which speed the aircraft is trimmed to. So just got a bit of an updraft there from the turbulence, you can see that. So now a little bit below the trimmed speed.
3954 aviation, you're turning left off course, stay intentions.
2500. I was wrong with course, so enable now.
2500 checked. So now it's trimmed. I can let go of the flight controls. And as long as the speed is correct to the trimmed speed, I do not have to interact with the flight controls. And that gives the aircraft an extremely stable flight path. Comes the gear. Flaps 20. So we only have crosswind, so I'm going to add 5 knots. 134.
KL152 Yankee, descend via Mach number in the transition, maintain 250 knots.
And flaps 25. Flaps 30. Speed brakes remain in the down position. So now I trim the aircraft, so that fly-by-wire button there, I trim it to the approach speed. There we go. Sometimes it snaps to the actual speed.
Maintain 4,000.
Okay, on path. Let's do the landing checklist. So speed brake obviously not armed. Item override confirmed. Confirmed. Landing checklist complete. Checklist complete.
Thank you very much.
So still 12 knot crosswind. Slightly high. Correcting. Now I've got the right trim speed. So now if I get the right power setting, it will then,
1,000.
as long as I'm not speeding up or slowing down, I don't have to interact with the flight controls really. But at least not on the pitch axis. 1,000 was checked, we're clear to land. On path. A little bit slow, I can feel the nose dropping because I'm a bit slow.
45, fly heading.
So I'm going to have to add a bit of thrust.
Let's do a 050 heading for space.
Trying to capture the speed again. I'm not trimming right now. All I'm doing is I'm trying to get back to that in-trim speed so that I can reduce that pressure on the yoke. But again, right now it feels nice and stable. Exactly as it should be.
Radar contact lost.
300.
I don't see any
Tango Heavy at
any wave movement like someone was reporting.
Approaching minimum.
So
minimums.
6 Sierra number 2.
So I could say that for me feels correct.
100. 50. 40. 30.
November 6 Alpha April, maintain 210 knots or less.
210 left, we're slowing down.
Ah, yes. Speed brakes now up.
Good afternoon, Delta 2914.
And reverses green.
Juliet, request push and start.
Delta 2914 Seattle Center, push and start approved. Expect runway.
I was so pleased with that greaser. Manual brakes.
CLM 14 Tango Heavy, maintain 210 knots or less till advised.
Speed and auto brake off.
Or less until advised, KLM 14 Tango.
Yeah, and all I did, I pulled back on the yoke
79 runway 34 left, clear to land.
exactly as I would have done in the real aircraft. It's not a quick pull and hold like on a 737.
711 heavy runway, or correction on Echo cross 34 center, hold short 34 right.
On Echo we cross 34 center, holding short 34 right. United 711 heavy.
So Yankee, clear
we
to
cross the first one and then hold immediately after the crossing here. So let's check right side clear. Oh, that looks beautiful. Look at that. Left side is clear. But that's a very small gap here.
Delta 2830 Seattle Center, push and start on the whiskey lane approved, tail north.
We don't even fit in here completely, do we?
Let
me check. So hold short.
November 6 Alpha, turn right heading 250.
Right, 250 to November 6 Alpha.
We would.
3954 heavy, maintain 210 knots.
We would actually fit right in there.
210 knots, FedEx, street 954.
91 GGs.
FedEx 3954 heavy, maintain 7,000.
So what I liked,
7,000.
I had to go, pull back on the yoke, and hold that back pressure. Exactly what I would do IRL. Because the 777 and the 787, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the 787 has a flare mode as well that kind of pushes the nose down a bit in the flare to synthetically have you pull back on the yoke and hold that back pressure. And it didn't feel floaty. It felt like it's, you know, as the speed reduced, I had to pull back more and more, and it just settled down really nicely.
Delta 1045, clear direct battleground.
All right, set the parking brake here. Right, Ghost, where are you? Let's see.
November 6 Alpha.
He's on the final now.
Put you behind another traffic. It's going to be a heavy aircraft. Fly heading 180 for now.
18028.
Hannes, maybe just to correct the last pieces of the flight, but once I was in the flare, I'm pretty sure that I pulled back and held that back pressure. It's not much. It's not much, but it was definitely there where I had to continuously pull back. trust me, there's a lot of things I absolutely dislike about PMDG. You know, I dislike the fact that they can't really deal with criticism. All right, you get banned immediately on their forums if you start criticizing them.
15, Juliet, ready for pushback. Yeah, with 3750.
And also, there's a lot of things that are just simply ported and not really modernized.
At 711 heavy, cross 34 right on Echo, taxi to the ramp via Bravo.
We cross 34 right on Echo and then via Bravo to the ramp. Thank you much. United 711 heavy.
American 3251, plan the ILS 34 left.
Let's see if we can catch Ghost landing as we taxi in.
So 55 Seattle Center, radar contact. Break November 6 Alpha, fly heading 250.
All right, Bravo's the first one. Here we go with the tiller.
Seattle Center, Delta 2914, ready for taxi.
Delta 2914, 34 right taxi via Bravo.
Right, let's watch the landing from Ghost
via
here.
Bravo, Delta 2914.
Right, here's Ghost. No pressure, Ghost. You can do this. We're counting on you. Oh, he's dropping. Ah, no.
Tough 2 Yankee, resume published speeds.
Ah, looked all right. Looked all right. It's just maybe just the synchronization.
2 Yankee, resume published speeds.
Right, traffic off.
November 6 Alpha, fly heading 27, correction, I'll make it 300.
Yeah, seems to, although I have to say now, well, actually I've got 60 FPS again now. Actually, it just dropped a little bit down a few seconds ago, but now it's up to 60 FPS again. Feeling very nice and smooth. So this is MK Studios' new Seattle scenery, but I'm sure
join the 34 left,
you've already seen it. And yes, I did buy it myself, right? So not sponsored.
KLM 14 Tango heavy, runway.
One thing again I noticed,
34 left.
and I think someone earlier on asked about this. So we did see some scenery stuff at the end. So from the runway, it did kind of load in very late. So it looked kind of blurry until we got very close to it.
3954 heavy, fly heading 180.
Yeah, too bright, I agree. But Voyager, I think that's going to be fixed.
Alaska 1179 on Charlie, cross 34 center, hold short 34 right.
24 knots, not too bad. 23 knots. So let's see, GSX. So Sierras, right? Sierras, heavy 7.
Delta 2830. There'll be traffic taxiing south on Bravo. Heavy 777 behind them. Runway 34 right taxi via Bravo.
How about Sierra 8? Yeah, Sierra 8 it is. We'll take
KLM 14 Tango.
It's busy here, look at that. Ooh, nice.
KLM 14 Tango, yeah, you were assigned 210 knots or less.
Lufty A350.
210 until further assigned, but 210 knots, KLM 14 thank you.
Oh, nice. And I think we're going to park left of it at Sierra 8. Can overtake the Delta. It looks alright. Looks alright. We'll have a look at the night lighting after we shut down the engines. So let's look out for Sierra 8 taxiway to the left. And then, yeah, Sierra 9, Sierra 8 next to that. Beautiful. Alrighty. Oh, Mark. A350 just before crash the desktop. Oh no. Oh, that hurts.
FedEx 3954 heavy flight.
Hey, air guitarist. Nice to see you. Long time no see. Hannes, I agree. Hannes, the performance is nice.
Contact Vancouver Center 133.7.
So Sierra 8 is supposed to be heavy gate. Okay, let's see how we squeeze in here.
American 61 Seattle Center.
American 61, I'm back.
American 61, contact Vancouver
There's
Center
Sierra 8.
133.7.
Vancouver 3370.
American 3251 heavy at Sonder, cleared ILS 34 left approach.
That's Sonder, cleared ILS 34 left approach, American 3251.
FedEx 3954 heavy, descend and maintain 3000, turn right heading 310, join the 34 right localizer.
So do we have the Agnes or not?
3000, heading 310, clear intercept localizer.
We do!
November 6 Alpha, number 2 runway 34 left, clear to land.
Number 2 clear to land, November 6.
Now we have a Marshall, but got the, wow.
Alaska 1179 on Charlie cross 34 right, takes to the ramp via Bravo, traffic will be holding in position. Delta 2914, runway 34 right, line up and wait. Traffic cross.
Line up and wait, 34 right, Delta 2914.
Shut down items.
Go with 3757, 34 right, taxi via Bravo.
Very cool.
Taxi 34 right via Bravo, 3757. That's 51528, leave my airspace, frequency change approved.
Oh, come on. That viewpoint, blimey.
United 755, descend
Right, make sure weather radar is off,
landing
light track is
north,
off.
Seattle altimeter 3014.
Off. Let's do a shutdown checklist. Oh, yeah, you see,
FedEx 3954 heavy, 900 miles from Buck, maintain 3000 until established, cleared ILS 34 at approach.
Right, park brake is set, and that's the shutdown checklist complete.
LM52 Yankee heavy at Sonder, cleared ILS 34 left approach.
That was a bit short of the line there.
Alaska 929, expect the ILS 34 left approach.
Expect the ILS 34 left approach, Alaska 929.
So maybe it needs a new profile to be loaded. Wow, look how busy it is. It's typical, right? New airport scenery, and it becomes really, really busy. So you got Seattle in the background.
Runway 34 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 34 right, Delta 2914.
And we had that KLM also from LA. Also landed. He took the last exit.
2830 runway 34 right, line of wait, traffic heavy MD11, 11 mile final.
There we go. So my TV is just about to turn off, so had to get the remote. Marcus, Ghost, you got minus 144 in the Marcus. Nice. Yeah, Seattle. If the weather is nice, I agree. But it does rain a lot here in Seattle, so. Here's the VOR.
2587 Seattle Center, clear to the Seattle Tacoma International Airport.
Eric Guitarist, what's new? Well, I'm just working from time to time. Looking forward to my retirement in October. Enjoying some flying. Lots of things happening again in the flight sim world.
Where you guys for? 2830, runway 34 right, clear for takeoff. Clear for takeoff, Delta 22.
Alpha, you've been there in summertime and the weather was nice. GG's. That's how it should be, right?
Guy with 3757.
Walter, no. I'll see you tomorrow if you like, Walter, in the stream tomorrow. No, I have to take care of my voice. I'm still from a cold. My voice still isn't. It's a bit scratchy still, so. Hence, only one flight today. But again, tomorrow, German live stream, 1700 UTC, also streaming the PMDG 777. Oh, Eric Tires, you'll pull through. Don't worry. So let's have a look. Are these terminals model? Oh, nice.
Okay, with 3750.
They are models.
Wind variable 3, runway 34 right, cleared takeoff.
What about this one here?
Clear takeoff, 34 right. 3750. Delta 2830, radar contacts. Climb maintain, flight level 370, say altitude passing.
Delta 2000, climb maintain, flight level 370, Delta 2830.
Nice. I think sort of performance
Alpha Mike Seattle Center standby.
was okay. I think maybe I dropped a couple times below 60 FPS, but overall, even though it's a fairly highly detailed scenery, yeah, it's performing okay. Not too bad.
Number 6 Alpha exit right on Juliet, say parking. Juliet.
Oh, Cloud, thanks for the pictures, Alpha.
Number 6 Alpha Juliet Tango.
Nice,
Quebec,
GG's.
Juliet Tango Quebec parking in November 6 Alpha.
Ghost, yeah, same to you. Thanks for flying along. A pleasure as always. Now I am wondering as well.
54 radar contact lost.
Does this have 2 towers?
2587, push and start your discretion. Call for taxi.
Or did I forget to deactivate the standard scenery? I hope not.
Seattle Center, good evening, Scandinavian Liner 327.
Right, one more time, nighttime, just quickly.
Correction, Delta 2914, clear direct.
Peter, Dankeschön, bis morgen. Thank you so much.
Direct Suma for Delta 2914.
Let's have a quick look at the night lighting here.
57 radar contact, climb maintain, flight level 340, say altitude path.
Just disconnecting here. Ah, it looks nice. Look at that. Yeah, that looks alright. Oh, it's weather's changed now. Oh, there's our rain that we were expecting. Yeah, it looks nice. Nice. Yeah, I did choose to go on VATSIM today because I knew that a couple of people would like to fly along. Normally, in the US, I go on the West Coast. I go with Pilot Edge. But today it was great having controllers in LA en route and in the approach. So big thank you to the American friends for the controlling. Okay, so yeah, MAN. It could well be. Let me just have a look very quickly. Honestly, I did not check. I checked for LA. I know that. Yeah, because I was seeing the second tower there. That got me a bit worried. Come on. Oh. Seattle, there we go. Oh, no. You've got to be kidding me. Sorry. Oh. Why is there not an option to have that automatically disarmed, like disabled? Or why doesn't it tell me, like, hey, careful, you have you have that scenery installed. Yes, I was getting skeptical because of that second tower. It just didn't look right. So for that matter, it even looked better. It performed very nicely then. So it warns you with duplicate airplanes, but it doesn't warn you with duplicate sceneries. Yes, Marwan. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Is it stuck? No, it's still loading, isn't it? Oh, no, it's stuck. Yeah, okay, so it may crash now. Yeah, sometimes that happens when you... I mean, if you have the time, I'll quickly... Oh, hang on. No, not... no. Not this one. I wanted to do... Steam. Yes, so... yeah, ATC in the US... They can clear like 3 or 4 aircraft in line for landing. And that's been a, Voyager, Dankeschön. Ja, bis morgen vielleicht. Have a great Sunday. See you tomorrow. Thanks so much. So, I mean, that's been, discussed a lot lately because of some incidents with runway incursions in the US. Now, personally, I don't know. I don't find it unsafe per se. I'm just not sure what the advantage is to do that over like what we do here in Germany, where we only get a landing clearance if the aircraft ahead has either vacated the runway or is 2,400 meters ahead of us and about to vacate the runway. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit different in the US, but that's just the way it is, right? Cross-out Sniper, you like 60-minute or 1 to 2 hour flights? Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, if you look to Asia as an example, there's many routes there where they fly 777 on these shorter routes. Cleared number 7. Have you ever heard that? Or even in the US, you have some cross the US flights. Like today, what I did with the LA to Seattle, it's not a typical 777 routing, but you can fly that. It's there's the law that doesn't allow you, so why not? Okay, so again, guys, overall, my honest opinion, and again, I've paid for the add-on myself, PMDG 777 here. I didn't get it gifted. There isn't much negative to say. Only if you want to go and dig, into the history and then complain about, really old flight warning computer standards or FMS standards, or a lot of things just being ported, some sounds or something, some textures maybe even. I don't know. You can for sure, pick some stuff up that you could criticize PMDG for, but as an honest opinion, right now on this flight, again, it was the 3rd flight I did, and all of them worked. There were no crash to desktops. There were no bigger lags or freezes. Let's do this here. So the hand flying as well, knowing the restrictions you have or the limitations you have in Microsoft Flight Sim.
Parking brakes to request ground services.
And looking at comparing it with other add-ons, I think it's fine. It's not bad. Comparing it to the Flight Vector 777, yes, in my opinion, the Flight Vector 777 still has an edge regarding the overall flight experience with the flight model. But there, of course, people will criticize the textures as well, right? And the general kind of look of X-Plane, which is changing in my opinion. It's getting better as well, as I've proven on the last 2 flights in X-Plane 12, right? So let's have a look again at the scenery. It doesn't look that much different, to be fair. So I don't know. I don't know what the big difference now is between the having the scenery, the standard scenery off or on. So it looks okay. Yeah, okay, so performance. Now, of course, I'm lucky to have a very powerful PC, so I can run Inibuild's A350 also with a fairly good performance. But one of the big killers right now for Inibuild's A350, and again, I don't wish them, bad fortune. It is just very unfortunate that a lot of people are still having these crashed desktops and problems in Inibuild's A350. So it's just the way it is at the moment. Hope that they get things fixed soon. Exactly. Yeah, it's your money, your judgment, right? Again, all I can do really is just to demonstrate, do a flight, and tell you my, what I felt with flying it. And I'm not here to tell you to buy or not to buy. I'm just here to tell you that I enjoyed the flight. I didn't find any bigger issues with it. And personally, now there's another thing, I am biased. I am a little bit biased because I'm a Boeing pilot. Okay, so take it with a grain of salt. Hey, LA Aviation, nice to see you. How are you? Yeah, so, I do like the 777 and I like the 787 and the 747. So, but the A350 is also nice, right? Yeah, Gilend. So if they get up the other aircraft variants, the 300, and then give it to you free if you already own the Microsoft 2020 version of the 777-300ER, then maybe it's actually worth waiting. Now, so I guess really the question is, if you own the PMDG 777-300ER in Microsoft 2020, the question is, do you just wait and not buy the 200ER and just wait until they bring it out for 2024 as well? Hey, Canoplex, so you've been there and you've not been back through that for the last 3 years. LA does have a small tower. It's just not used anymore. Ah, okay. Thank you much for that info, love. Thank you so much. An air Boeing bus plane. Well, I mean, I'm very happy with the 787. So. Yeah, Alpha, exactly. So again, I respect all those opinions, right? I totally understand. I respect that. And again, I'm not here to tell you to buy it or not. I just demonstrate the flight and the aircraft. Yeah. And you guys, you've grown up enough to make your own decisions. There we go. Cool. My dear moderators, as always, first of all, thank you so much to you guys. Thanks for being here. Looking over the chat. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everyone. And if you like, tomorrow, yeah, I know it's German only tomorrow, but I do get these requests very often. So I mean, feel happy that we did do the English version first with the 777-200ER, and then tomorrow we'll have the German version. A preference for engine type? At the moment, GE. GE. Thank you so much, everyone, and thanks for the support, guys. That really means a lot to me. It always warms my heart greatly to see the kind words, the subscriptions coming in. Thank you so much for that, and as always, see you soon. Stay well, and always happy landings. Good night, everyone.